atmosphere is lovely.
Hello, Mary Lou, the homicidal maniac.
Even though Susie had everything to live for, personal demons terrorized her soul.
Yeah, and you look like a walking felony in that thing.
Well, if you don't look good, it ain't worth it.
One of these days, that bitch gonna push me too far.
Laugh, damn it, you can't sing. I hope you die.
The sheriff shows up, Pam's still lost, I become a prime suspect for murder.
What if Pam is dead? And what about Teresa? Maybe that suicide wasn't a suicide. Then there is a killer.
Hi, this is Laura Park Lincoln from Friday the 13th, Part 7, and you're listening to The Hysteria Continues.
And indeed you are. Welcome back to The Hysteria Continues, episode number 65, and we're marching on to the hallowed 69, which will be with us in a few months, I kind of guess. This time we're going to be covering a pick by Nathan, which is Cheerleader Camp, even, aka Bloody Pom-Poms from 1987 or 88, depending on which date you take. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Also, we're going to be covering another top 3. So we're going to be getting the cat back, flushing that toilet with the worst or / most annoying characters from slasher movies. So I think that's going to be quite an interesting one. So without further ado, let's introduce you to my fellow mascots at Camp Hurrah. Erik, how are you doing?
Give me an E! No, I mean, seriously, give me an E. I want to go out clubbing.
Oh, Erik, I thought you were a clean living kind of guy.
I am clean living. I'm only joking, obviously.
Unless it's rum and coke. And chunky Kit Kats. Yes.
Yes. Ooh, yes.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, we'll leave you to think about that and having a bit of private time. Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm okay. And competition was murder at Cheerleader Camp.
It was, indeed. And we'll be talking a lot more about that coming up shortly. Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm quite well. And Leif Garrett was murdered at Cheerleader Camp.
He was.
How dare you give a spoiler?
Ooh. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Spoiler!
Or was that his career was murdered at Cheerleader Camp?
No, his career died long before Cheerleader Camp.
Yes.
Yeah. But, actually, I want to give a shout-out to a friend of mine named BTK from the forums. You probably know him if you listen to this show or if you hang around the forums. He's opened a comic book shop in Ohio, the Wapak area. And he sells more than comic books. He's been helping me out with The Night Before Easter, and his shop has, horror film memorabilia, and he's such a really good guy. So if you're in the Ohio area, go check out his comic book shop. It's called The Fourth Wall. I probably should have done some kind of research and did the address, but just look it up. I mean, everyone has a smartphone these days, so just look it up. Go in, buy a horror movie toy or a comic book and tell him we sent you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Has he got a Facebook page? Do you know?
Yes, you do. Just search for The Fourth Wall.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's good. And how's it going with the Night Before Easter? The preparations?
Not too bad. We moved to Indiegogo because with Kickstarter we weren't really that close to our goal, and if we don't reach the goal, we get no money. So Indiegogo, whatever you raise, you get to keep, and we're almost at 3,000, and we have about 40 days left. So there's lots of stuff available and lots of time. So please, if you have anything, just kind of throw it our way. We just want to make a really good film, and One thing about Indiegogo is that if you pledge, they do take your money right away. So just kind of, be smart about, throwing your money at us. But we do appreciate it. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of incentives up there, isn't there? I think four out of the 5, because you can choose film for us to cover on the podcast, can't you? But I think, haven't almost all of those gone? I think there's one left.
Yes, there is one left. And, yeah, you're not just throwing your money away. I mean, you're getting something back. And, other than that, we're also going to make a movie. So it's, it's a couple of things you're getting back. But we'd really appreciate the help. I mean, we really can't do this without your help. So please, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Well, no, please do. That'd be great. And do we have any idea yet what the kind of films have been chosen for us? You don't have to say. You don't have to say on air. But should we be excited or worried? Are they kind of Nathan picks?
Actually, I'd say about 80% excited and maybe about 20% worried.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk on off air about that. So we all like a challenge, don't we?
Yes.
So excellent. Right. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll keep us up to date when we do the next show as well, and obviously keep an eye on the Facebook page, both Hysteria Continues and the Night Before Easter Facebook pages for updates on that. So I'm a little bit incoherent today because I didn't get home until 3:00 this morning from holiday. So you have to forgive me if I'm a bit more rambling than usual. So just my 347th holiday this year to sunny Fuerteventura, where they had a heat wave there. It was up to 50 degrees on one of the days. I know it was.
That is a heat wave.
Celsius.
No, he said degrees.
Yeah, degrees Celsius.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know those terms. So,
I don't know what would that be in Fahrenheit.
90, 91, 89. Was that right, Eric?
I'll do a quick calculation on the internet.
Yes. Well, normally it doesn't get above 30 degrees all year.
Just so you're aware, Eric is our weatherman.
He is.
Yes.
Eric's always.
I can tell you, 50 degrees Celsius is 122 Fahrenheit.
Oh boy, never mind then.
Yes.
So that's quite hot, isn't it?
Very hot.
That's dangerously hot. That's do not go outside hot.
Yes, we were in the middle of a desert as well, so that didn't help.
And this was a vacation?
It was, without air conditioning.
Without air conditioning?
Without air conditioning, we couldn't stay for a couple of days because the Canary Islands are just off Africa, and they occasionally get about 2 or 3 days a year where they get African weather comes in. And they had a whole week of it, and I think it topped 50 degrees. That's what I heard, but it was definitely 40, 45 degrees. So we just had to go down to the sea and swim and sit in the shade and drink.
Drink cocktails. Oh, a hardship.
I know, it was terrible. It was terrible, but yeah, then it got a little bit more bearable. So anyway, obviously do feel sad for me because I've been stuck drinking cocktails and I didn't go home until 3:00 yesterday morning. Not at the same time.
Boo.
So. That was me done. So we are... Well, let's talk about Recently Seen, because we haven't done a podcast... No, it's been 2 weeks, isn't it, since we last recorded?
3.
Is that 3?
3.
Oh,
3.
That's right. Oh, yeah. We recorded a week early, didn't we? Or did we? Am I losing track? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We haven't spoken for 3 weeks. So, Erik, what have you been watching recently?
Okay, well, I watched the new Fog Blu-ray release from Scream Factory. I got it during the week. Of particular interest, I suppose, to us would be there's a great interview with Jamie Lee Curtis on the disc, and she talks about the 5 horror films she was involved in, from Halloween to Halloween 2. Now, she starts off talking mainly about The Fog, and she says that she doesn't really know why it's such a cult favorite. She doesn't really like the film. She thinks it doesn't really work for her. Although she does go on to say very positive things about Halloween 2, which I was surprised about because I thought that would be one of them that she would completely diss. She does make fun of the scene where she has to, flump. What's the word? Flop. That's the word I'm looking for. Flop out of the car, and she sees Marion Chambers and Dr. Loomis in the distance, and she can't raise a scream. Like she says, that's completely ridiculous. But she says that she thinks it's an effective movie and has as many scares as the original. So it was nice to hear her say that. She kind of skips over Prom Night and Terror Train to a degree. But the interview is about 21 minutes, and it's just always nice to hear from her, I think, because she's one of my favourite actresses. And I know here's a cue for Joseph to say something derogatory about her.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but the disc is great, though. I mean, there's other new features. There's an interview with Ian Cundy, and there's a new commentary track on it, and then it ports over all the features from the previous DVD releases, and it looks amazing.
Does it look did you see the British Blu-ray? Because that was awful. That was really had to.
I heard.
What do they call it when it get that kind of banding all around? Like any film that's got lights, and anything with a film like The Fog, which has fog in it, is challenging, isn't it, on a kind of digital format? So the British Blu-ray was banding or whatever it's called everywhere. It just looked like a really bad, early DVD. So, but this looks good, does it? Because I've got it on order. I should be at work when I go back to work on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah, really, really good. And I mean, as I said, there's enough new features to warrant a second purchase if you have it already.
Eric, you think you can bully me into bullying Jamie Lee Curtis, but you're wrong, girlfriend.
But you've said so many horrible things about her in the past. I was just expecting you to come in with some kind of horse sound effect or something.
Not today, Eric. Not today.
Good. And she has actually really lovely things to say about John Carpenter in the interview as well, which is nice.
Well, hasn't she just done? I think we spoke about this last time. She's done commentary with John Carpenter, hasn't she, for the 35th?
Yes, a new one. Yeah,
release of Halloween or the anniversary.
Which means I'll have to buy that as well, even though I have it 15 times already.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, how many releases of Halloween are they going to come out with? I mean, if they keep selling, then I don't blame them. But, they're going to do a 40th anniversary and then a 50th. And
Evil Dead is the same thing.
It is the same way.
Listen, I love Halloween as much as the next guy, but I am just so Halloweened out as far as, buying DVDs and things of that nature. I mean, there's so many of those. I mean, how many do you really need? And I don't think they give a whole lot of new information on each one, do they?
They had a decent enough 90-minute documentary on the last one I bought, which had a few behind the scenes bits of footage as well.
I think,
it's the extras that make me buy it rather than anything else. So,
well, they're probably waiting, aren't they, to get this one out of the way, and then for the 40th anniversary, they'll finally bring out the alternative cut of the film.
Yeah, that we were talking about in the last one. Yeah,
no, exactly. So. Okay, well, no, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that in the proper release.
Yeah, no, it's well worth waiting for. It's really good. The other one I watched was a film called Keep My Grave Open, which is also known as The House Where Hell Froze Over. And this is an SF Brownrigg movie. I think this is the first of his movies I've ever seen. It was his follow-up to Don't Open the Door. And it stars a woman who looks like Kiki D, and she lives with somebody called Kevin, who is her brother, and he's locked away in a bedroom the whole time, and we never see him. And she seems slightly unhinged. And it is, I suppose you could call it a slasher movie. It's very much in the same vein as something like Don't Go in the House or Christmas Evil. It's kind of like an everyday Joe Soap who has kind of a mental breakdown due to a childhood trauma, and they go around killing people, basically. And she's dressing up as her brother Kevin and going around killing people who trespass on her land. I mean, it's quite well made, it's quite well acted, but the pacing is just really, really slow. It's a 1976 movie, so it has that kind of mid-70s low budget pacing. But the film just, for me, didn't have enough to draw me in, and it did, test my limited attention span, I have to say. I mean, it's a curiosity, a slightly boring one, but I mean, it's not awful. Would I give it a recommend? I don't know. Probably not, but I mean, I saw it on YouTube. It's free on YouTube to watch if you want, but it's not one I'd return to.
I did review that for Hysteria Lives quite a long time ago.
Right.
I can't remember very much about it at all.
It's very slow, very slight film. So yeah, it's not a thrill a minute. It's not Friday the 13th.
No. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Anything else?
I've seen a lot of other films, but not. I haven't been watching a lot of horror recently.
What's wrong with you?
Well, if I can, I don't know if I can unveil this, but I will be guesting on another podcast talking about dance movies. So I've been catching up on a lot of them.
Erik,
I know.
You turn coat.
I turn coat. I finally get to talk about Xanadu, my podcast.
Well, we consider this a conflict of interest, so you're fired.
You have to let you go. The Hysteria continues. HR team will be in touch.
We're going to replace you with Derek Thrillfall, your twin brother.
Yes. You can now sashay away. Erik.
Is that what they say on?
You didn't give him a chance to lip sync for his life.
Oh yeah.
It's RuPaul thing.
You need to lip sync for your life.
Do you know what else? Oh, actually, speaking of recently seen, I was watching a DVD of The Comeback, which is a series that Lisa Kudrow did just after she finished Friends, and it's kind of a mock reality TV show, and she's in a TV studio. I think, and they're pitching all the stuff that's coming up for the new season, and one of them is called America's Next Top Porn Star. And the trailer shows one of the tasks that the contestants have to do is to fill their mouth with creme fraiche and run up, a big flight of stairs and then spit the creme fraiche into a bucket. I thought this is the type of thing Justin would watch.
Well, it sounds like a Terry Weigel film, doesn't
it? More about that later.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there are some titles that I find particularly hilarious, but we'll get to that later.
Yes. I especially liked, when obviously, we'll get onto that later, but just Terry Weigel, who's a star in Cheerleader Camp, splashed out into porn, namely Bukkake 8. Was it American Bukkake 8? But there's lots more of that to come later, literally.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, thank you, Erik. Is that everything? Is that you spent? Okay. Nathan.
Well, I mean, I could talk about Perfect starring Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta, or Girls Just Want to Have Fun starring Sarah Jessica Parker, if you want.
Oh, my goodness. I'd talk about that one. I love Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Nathan, what have you been watching?
Okay. Aside from Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I have seen You're Next at the theater twice.
Okay. Yes.
Because I love the movie that much already. If anybody that's seen the previews for it, I guess kind of knows what it's about. It's like a family of about 10 people gather at this remote house in the woods, and these three killers in these, animal masks start killing them off one by one, which I like that, of course. I think that a lot of people think this movie's going to be like really scary, and it's really not. To me, it's just a fun popcorn film, just a huge body count, a great final girl, a good soundtrack, some interesting kills. I love the fact that they don't focus on just one weapon. Like, they all use different weapons. Like, it's one of those variety of life kind of slasher movies. And, another thing is, I think it unfairly gets touted as a home invasion movie. I mean, this is a slasher movie. That's it. It's great to see Barbara Crampton back on the screen, although one of my main gripes about the movie is they just waste her talent, because she could have done so much more than what they give her to do in the movie. But other than that, I thought it was cheesy. I mean, it made me laugh at some of the cheesiness of it, whether it was intentional or not. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it.
It's coming out. I think it's coming out here in next week, isn't it?
Erik? On Friday, yeah.
On Friday, yeah. So I might get to see. I might go and see it on Tuesday. But didn't we interviewed, or you interviewed Barbara Crampton, didn't you?
Yes, I interviewed Barbara Crampton for our Chopping Mall episode, which must be 2011, and she mentioned
episode 17. So because
she mentioned that, stuff she'd done recently was You're Next, and she said it's really good. And I, in my head, was thinking, it's probably just some straight-to-DVD movie. And I never heard anything about it since. And then I went to the cinema to see The Conjuring, and the trailer for You're Next was in front of it. And I was like, oh, that must be the Barbara Crampton movie. And it is. Yeah, so it must have been sitting on the shelf for a few years. I think you said that, Joseph, to me, didn't you?
Yeah, it was completed in March of 2011, but just now released.
Wasn't All the Boys Love Mandy Lane getting a cinema release finally in the States?
It is?
No, it's
8
going
years later.
It's going to DVD, actually, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain it's just DVD.
I think it's getting a limited theatrical release as well.
Well, it might, yeah. It's not getting a wide release.
No. But that was made in 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's, God knows why that, because it's not that bad a film, is it?
No, it's not. It's not terrible or anything. I mean, I thought it was kind of underwhelming, but it's not bad. I don't see why they'd keep it on the shelf for so long.
Well, especially with the fact is, what's her name? The lead.
Amber
Heard.
Amber Heard
she's
is quite a big star.
Popular now. I think that's why they're finally releasing it, because she's got this name going right now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Looking forward to seeing You're Next, and hopefully me and Erik will be able to talk about it next time. I mean, Joseph, have you seen it yet?
Yes, I went to see it Friday, and Nathan, he tagged along because he wanted to see it again. And I did not dislike You're Next, but at the same time, I really didn't like it as well as I wanted. My problem with the film is, I built it up to be this kind of scary kind of, nod to slasher films, and it was more Home Alone than Halloween to me. I mean, a lot of the killers and a lot of the characters do, they bumble around like cartoon, villains, and I just find Adam Wingard's direction is just very, very incompetent. I mean, there's a few shots where he does like some slow-mo shots that are really well, really well done. But a lot of his, he does a lot of shaky cam, and he does a lot of like hard focuses on, people's faces, like right up and almost up their nostrils, and it's just very distracting. That's one problem I had with it. Well, a couple of problems I had with it. I also felt that, Barbara Crampton, like Nathan said, she was completely wasted. She spends most of, her screen time just off in a corner or laying in a bed crying. And she's capable of so much more. And, in my eyes, they would have made, I would have made her the final girl because I love her so much. But I will say, the final girl in You're Next is one of the best final girls I've ever seen in any film. She is a complete badass. I mean, I've never seen anyone like just go, balls to the wall and just, defending themselves. I mean, this girl is just completely awesome. And I did like the electronic score. It kind of reminded me a lot of Tangerine Dream. So there's that. I mean, it's a good movie, well made, but it's just kind of underwhelming to me. I mean, I'll probably warm to it a little more on a second viewing, but I don't think it really justified me spending, almost $11 at the theater to see it.
Okay. How do we know how it's doing, sort of?
Well, I think they're projecting a $7 to $10 million opening weekend. It was made for less than $1 million. Not sure how much, they spent on advertising, but I think it'll probably make its money back and maybe some change, and it'll probably do well on, home sales. I've seen lesser films, warrant a sequel for, making less. So I think it'll be, somewhat successful. Not a smash hit, but I think it might, warrant more slasher films. I'm certainly hoping so.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Well, Nathan, what else have you been watching?
The other, one of the other films I watched was No One Lives.
I hear an airplane.
Well, I'm in a flight path.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really liked No One Lives. I mean, I think that, I don't think it's a very original movie. I think that, they, some of the twists and turns in it, are trying to go for originality, but, it just seemed like something I'd seen before, but I didn't care because it was fast paced, some good kills, I mean, again, like I felt with You're Next, like I thought it was just a fun, over-the-top, silly movie that I could just watch and have some fun with.
And where did you see that? Was that the cinema as well? Was that on?
No, it was on demand.
Right. Because I've heard about what's the story with that one? Because I'm not familiar. Is that another kind of slasher movie, or is it a?
Yes, it's like a couple are on it's like a road trip, and these criminals, that have already killed like a family, kind of start hassling them at this restaurant, and eventually they kidnap the couple, and basically they underestimate the guy because it turns out he's not somebody they want to mess with, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, but the guy just basically starts killing off the criminals one by one.
Okay.
So it's just another slasher.
Well, sounds good. What, Joseph, have you seen that as well?
No, my thing with No One Lives is I watched the trailer about a year ago, and it gave away the entire film. But I've forgotten the trailer by now, so I'm actually going to watch it this week, and I'll report back on our next show.
Okay. Yeah, don't watch the trailer. Anybody out there
I've forgotten
about it?
I've forgotten it, so I do kind of look forward to watching it now.
Excellent. Okay.
Because I have to say, like, I watched this movie before I saw the trailer. I kind of just watched it blindly, and that's why I liked it. And then I watched the trailer afterwards because I remember Joseph mentioning it. So yeah, anybody out there, do not watch the trailer.
Fair enough. Okay. Excellent. Anything else?
The only other thing is I made Wes watch They Call Me Macho Woman last night.
Okay. Right.
Or AKA Savage Instinct, if you're looking at it.
Yeah. Did Wes appreciate that?
He actually thought it was really funny, although the scene where she's on top of the car and runs across the criminals' heads to get away, like he thought that was just the dumbest thing he's ever seen in a movie.
Well, yes, he's got a point. So, excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Nathan. Joseph, how about you?
Well, last night I was doing a kind of a blind Netflix pick, and I landed on a film called Parasitic after reading the synopsis, which sounded incredible. It's basically these people in this strip club get locked inside with this monster, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. So, I'll blind watch it. And this is so awful. It's like below Roger Corman's Z-grade schlock. But for some reason, I could not turn it off. I had to see it through to the end, no matter how bad it got. And I can't say I liked it. It really is terrible, but it's so hilarious because the characters, they come up with some of the dumbest excuses why they can't leave. They're like, oh, well, we can't leave because we all have to be here to open the door. For some reason, they never really go into it. And they say, well, let's just break open a window and, yell for help. And they're like, well, there's bars on the window. And one character actually says, well, we can yell for help. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't know if that's such a good idea either. And then they'll pick like a topic of like, do you remember when so-and-so did this? And then they'll expand on this for like 10 minutes to kind of fill running time. And that kind of got on my nerves a lot, more than the terrible acting and the just the bad editing and everything. But the one thing I did like about this movie is that the effects are so funny. Like, it's basically, like I said, these people are locked inside this strip club, and there's this asteroid hits Earth, and this parasite, like, infects this fish. And then one of the strippers is eating some sushi made from the fish, and it's, like, infected. So she basically becomes, like, this, what do you call that when a butterfly is in a thing and it, or
in a cocoon?
Cocoon, yeah. She basically becomes a human cocoon for this parasite that basically it crawls out of her neck. So she's got this big rubber, it looks like a big rubber dildo hanging out of her neck. And she's chasing around these people through the whole film, and it shoots projectiles into other people and basically turns them into zombies. I mean, it's completely terrible. And, normally this movie of this kind of caliber, I would just shut it off after 5 minutes and not waste my time. But I was compelled to see it through to the end, and I had a few good laughs. I would not recommend it, but for some reason, I finished it, and at least I had a good laugh out of it.
Would I like it?
You would like it. Well, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't like it, but you'd probably find humor in some of the effects and some of the dumb dialogue and stuff.
Cool.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, anything else?
The only other thing, aside from your next, is I saw the Don't Go to the Reunion, which was made by the guys who did the short film. Was it Teddy, Nathan?
Yes.
From Slasher Studios. They basically did a fundraising on Indiegogo to raise money to make this movie, and it's basically these high school kids play like this practical joke on this nerdy guy in school who loves horror films, and it basically humiliates him and gets him expelled from school and ruins his life. So, and then 10 years later, they all get invited to a reunion, and then they start getting picked off, one by one by someone who may or may not be the guy out for revenge. And this is a definite, labor of love. It's very low budget, but it's put together well. These guys, you can tell they really love their 80s slasher films, and they put so much effort into this. Now, I'm not going to say it's a complete winner because I had a few problems, mainly with the characters. I felt that the majority of them were just really, unbearable and unlikable. My problem with them was that they were jerks in high school, and 10 years passed and they remained the same people. My opinion would have been these 10 years would have passed and they would have had some kind of remorse for what they did to this poor guy. But they pretty much stay the same, so you're kind of rooting for the killer to pick them off. I mean, they're not like completely hateful. I mean, a few of them are, but they're just kind of like you wanted them to be a little more likable than what they were. And I thought, a few of the references to '80s slasher films were a little too on the nose. Like, I like subtlety, and oh, I see what they did there. But this is more like, oh, this reminds me of that scene in Mad Men. They'll actually say the name of the title, and I can understand that, but it just gets a little bit to be a little too much at times. But other than that, it's really fun. It's like, not counting the credits, it's like 63 minutes long, so it does not overstay its welcome. I mean, it gets right to it, cuts right to the chase. I mean, it's just a body count, and then it's done. So I give these guys A for effort. I'd give them, a B- overall. It's a fun film, and these guys, they put a lot of heart into it. So check out Don't Go to the Reunion on Facebook, and order the film, and support these indie slasher movie filmmakers.
Excellent. Okay, I would echo that. I shall check that out. So thank you, Joseph. I'll just kind of rip through a few I saw when I was on holiday.
Now, Nathan, you did see Don't Go to the Reunion, didn't you?
I pretty much have to echo what you said. Okay. I mean, I really liked it. So, I mean, I just agree. Support independent film.
Absolutely. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you, guys. I was on holiday, so I saw quite a few films. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but a few ones that stood out for me was a film from 2007 is called Murder Party.
How did you get from 19 to 2007?
Yeah, I was about to say 1927. No, 2007, called Murder Party, which I hadn't heard of before, but Patrick on Screen Queens did a review of it. It was a feature on the show a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks back, and it was really good. He made it sound like a really fun movie, and it was. It's kind of low budget movie, and it had a really good premise. And the premise, without giving too much away, was essentially this kind of real loser guy who is such a loser. His cat won't even move off the sofa when he asks the cat to move, so he has to go and sit somewhere else. And he finds it's Halloween night, and then he finds this invite to a party blowing down the street, and he picks it up. He looks at it, and it says "Come alone" to this party. So he goes back, he bakes a cake, and makes this kind of this costume out of cardboard boxes, like a knight costume, medieval knight costume. And he turns up to this party in this kind of really dodgy part of New York, and he goes in, and essentially he's been invited to his own murder. And it's a completely random thing, and it says a load of hipster art students have basically set this thing up because they want to create the perfect art murder. So they've just somehow they didn't think anyone would turn up, so they did turn him up. So they tie him up, and they're all vying for funding for an art project from this main guy called Alexander, who turns up, and he's kind of art guru, and he turns up this kind of Russian pimp. And they're all kind of trying to outdo each other with ways of ideas how to kill this poor man, this loser who's turned up. And so they're coming up with all these. They're basically saying it's not art enough, and you need to be, you're really disappointing. You're not going to get the prize. You're not going to get the funding for your project. So they're talking about all these installations they can do to kill this guy. And as you can imagine, everything goes wrong for certain people and right for others. And it kind of ends with this kind of fantastic kind of chase scene where the person who turns out to be the killer chases one of the characters through like an opening a gallery, and is all kind of slightly tongue in cheek. He's as you might expect, but he stops to have a cocktail while he's chasing this person. And it's just kind of it sounds really silly, and it is quite silly, but it's a real kind of piss take on the whole hipster movement, but it works pretty well as a black comedy, and towards the end as a slasher movie as well. So have any of you guys heard of that or seen it?
I've heard of it, but I have not seen it. It sounds a little bit like a movie a friend of mine wrote about 10 years ago called Yelp that never got made. But I'll have to check it out. It sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's pretty well made, and it is kind of blackly comedic. It's almost like if you imagine John Waters made a slasher movie but took it down a notch or two. So it's not really over the top kind of. It's just more. The comedy comes from the situation and the characters being real hipsters who are more interested in their art than sort of murder. Basically, the kind of moral complications of murder. But also, it's worth listening to Scream Queens when they covered it, because that was a really fun episode. So that was one. Another one watched was Time Walker, which is a film from 1982, which I haven't seen
love that
before.
movie.
Yeah, and I kind of, it's always been on my radar a little bit, because I thought, well, I could, for a long time I thought it was just a sci-fi movie, so I wasn't that interested in seeing it because I'm not a big fan of sci-fi. But then I read up that it was kind of a mixture of sci-fi, mummy and slasher movie, and that's exactly what it is. It's kind of a real cheese fest of very slight kind of synopsis. It was essentially like a cheap version of The Awakening, the Charlton Heston movie in some ways, but it's a mummy gets taken back to a Californian Institute of Science, which is full of people who look like they should be at Camp Crystal Lake rather than an archaeological dig. And cut a long story short, they bring the mummy back to life, and the mummy goes hunting for some jewels that have been taken from him. And all these jewels have been given to co-eds as pendants, and they do things like babysitting and taking showers, and the mummy goes and gets them back and kills lots of people. So it has a definite, and then it ends, without giving anything away, but ends in a very kind of sci-fi way. It goes off into that kind of weird sort of 70s, 80s kind of sort of, Close Encounters, or there's that film, The Visitor. Have you ever seen that really whacked out sci-fi film? It goes almost nearly as wacky as that towards the end. But it's also got Kevin Brophy from Hell Night in it, so it's definitely got playing pretty much almost exactly the same character as he did in Hell Night, as the kind of the ne'er-do-well sort of university student. But I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. I mean, it's really cheesy. I mean, it's got everything you could want from a 80s slasher. It's got like frat parties where everyone dresses as mummies and stuff like that, and it's just kind of really over the top and silly. But Joseph, you said you seen it?
Yes, I have seen that. I actually watched it not too long ago. It is a lot of fun. It's completely 80s cheese. So I think Erik and Nathan should definitely watch it. I think they'll like it.
I've seen it.
Oh, you
have?
I have, but it's a long time ago, and I do remember enjoying it. I have it somewhere, so I might watch it tonight, because it just refreshed my memory on it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, what about you, Nathan? You seen it?
No, I'll have to watch it though.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. It's good. It's a good fun time. And lastly, I mean, I saw a few others, but one film I hadn't seen, and I'd always kind of always thought I'd quite like to watch it, because I really liked Salem's Lot when I was a kid. The original TV movie, or sort of the two-parter. So I always thought quite fancy watching Return to Salem's Lot, the Larry Cohen sort of film from, I think, in 1987, and it really is fucking awful movie. We were sat there, and I think it was probably the drunkest I got on holiday, but I still remember thinking at the end of it, what the hell, just watching this movie and thinking, what the hell is this? I'm surprised it even got released. Has anyone seen it?
Wait,
No.
cut out for a second. What was it?
Return to Salem's Lot?
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen it.
No. Okay. Well, it's how about you guys, Erik and Joseph?
Yes. It's
No,
not.
I haven't.
It is not a patch on the original film at all. Which is weird. I normally like a lot of Larry Cohen stuff. His humor, I kind of like his humor, but that movie really is terrible.
It's kind of it's got Ronnie Blakely who plays the mother, Nancy's mother in Nightmare on Elm Street. She's right at the beginning of the film, and it's just got this kind of random character going back to Salem's Lot with his bratty sort of younger teenage son, and the whole place is full of vampires, and it's just kind of, and then random bikers and punks and stuff turn up and get killed. And I mean, it sounds good, and it probably is if you're in your right frame of mind, but I obviously weren't drunk enough. But
not drunk enough?
I know.
Wow.
I know. Who would have thought? But as you might hear, we're having a few issues. Skype's being slightly psychotic today, so things are dropping out. So hopefully, when you listen back to this, it's going to sound all right. But there may be a few issues on this podcast. But I think that is all of the recently seen. So I think we're going to push on to how you guys done it? I've done we're going to do top 3 worst or most obnoxious, or is it the most annoying? Is it worst and annoying characters?
All of the above. All of the above.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we have got some real shitheads for you.
These are so bad that some of the sound clips I hated making them because I hate these people so much.
Well, Joseph, let's start with your number 3.
The needles! He got the fucking needles! He's fucking in there! I want the fucking needles! I want the fucking needles!
Okay.
All right, that was Xavier from Saw 2, and technically Saw 2 is not a traditional slasher film, but I was kind of reaching for, material here. But, I kind of like Saw 2, but, and I'm sure the guy playing the Xavier character is a nice guy. His name is Frankie G. But I really hated his character in this film. I mean, he's the typical kind of the guy who gets in everyone else's way and, is looking out for himself. And on top of that, I just found, his acting was a little, a lot to be desired. And he just kind of walking around acting all tough and things. And it just got on my nerves. And I think that's kind of indicative of all the Saw films. I mean, there's very rarely any likable characters in any of the Saw films. And I think that's the problem. And here, the Xavier character was just completely unlikable, and I couldn't wait for him to die. And, spoiler alert, it takes pretty much all the way till the last, 5 minutes for him to finally get his comeuppance. And I don't think it was enough. I mean, it was a gory death, but I think he deserved, maybe a kick in the head about 25 times. So, but
is he the character that throws Amanda into the needles?
Yes, he's
That's what I was just about to ask as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
he's like
horrible. Yeah.
You hear that? It's wood, plaster. It's a fucking house, not a fortress. That's the extent of his acting. So yeah,
you could be an action hero with a voice like that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I mean, but I just did not like his character, so that's why I picked him. But he's probably actually, he's my number 3, so he's the least hateable of my 3. So
wow,
if anything, he gets that.
Okay, right, excellent. Anyone wants anything else about that? Obviously, there is a Saw cheerleader camp connection, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Yes, which I'm sure we'll come on to a little bit later. But otherwise, anyone else got anything to say? Or Nathan, should we go on to yours?
Yes.
Okay, here's Nathan's number 3.
Edna! Lily! Oh, Edna! And how are you today? Agnes, old friend.
Why do you keep on doing this to me? I have arthritis, but that doesn't make me senile.
Oh, no, of course not. I mean, I didn't introduce... Oh, Edna, I would never...
And I'm not deaf either.
She's just cranky as hell.
Thank you. And Lily, don't swear. Oh, Agnes, I'm not mad at you. But before this day is over with, you and me have got to have an understanding.
Oh, here, let me help.
Lesson number 1, I don't need any help. But it's nice to know there's someone there to offer.
Okay.
I picked the grandmother from House of Death. I think what the filmmakers were going for was the tough, cranky, but lovable grandmother. And, there is moments where, she shows her softer side. But, I mean, through most of the movie, she's just, really cranky. And I just can't imagine wanting to be around somebody that's so cranky. And she's a man-hater, there's a scene where she comes upon a girl at a booth and she's being all friendly to her, and then when her boyfriend pops up because he's helping out, her smile completely disappears and she has a scowl on her face. So it's almost like she doesn't like men.
Men, we don't know what we did.
There you go.
Yep.
Yes,
I would agree. I love House of Death, and I think you can mime a little bit of comical attributes out of the grandma character, but she is the type of woman you just kind of want to roll into oncoming traffic.
You can't say that.
I can say whatever I want.
That's something you think. You don't say.
I just did. Sorry.
Well, okay, right. Well, thank you, Nathan. Before we get any more, who knows where the violence is going to go with this top 3, but here's Eric's.
Oh,
Don't you like the vest just a little bit more? Yeah, maybe you don't even need to wear a mask, baby.
So how many cases can we get?
3 cases. Any more, and I think old Mr. Casey would know something's up. Hey, but we got to get going. Shift changes pretty soon. You gonna pull around back, or should we both just get busted out front? Oh, Mike. Nice wax job. Touch the car again, and you're dead. Okay. Thank you. All right, that's it. Now go. And don't drink it all before we get there, okay?
Idiot.
And that is Michael in Halloween 5, not Myers. This is the moody boyfriend of Tina. What anyone sees in him, I do not know. How he manages to have a girlfriend, how he manages to have friends in general is beyond me. He very, very rarely speaks. Listen to that clip, you'll hear he has 2 lines of dialogue, I think, in the entire movie. One is touch the car again and you're dead, and the other one is idiot. He never smiles. He treats Tina like dirt. He treats his friends like dirt. I mean, all he has going for him is his fancy car that he obsesses over, and that's all he has to offer the world. It's just, his character is just bizarre to me. How on earth he's integrated into this group of friends. He's only on screen for 2 minutes. Maybe he has a nicer side that we don't see. Maybe he does, charity work at the local orphanage, but I doubt it. Actually, and there's a connection between him and cheerleader camp as well. Does anyone know what it is? This little quiz question.
No.
Okay, Jonathan Chapin, who plays Mikey in Halloween 5, was in Twice Dead with Travis McKenna, who plays Timmy in Cheerleader Camp.
Okay, right.
So I would have won this quiz. Yeah,
Erik, did you know that Dirty Dancing has a connection with Cheerleader Camp?
Ooh.
You know what that is?
What is it? I can't tell.
Patrick Swayze was in Roadhouse with Travis McKenna, who is in Cheerleader Camp. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know that Xanadu is related to Cheerleader Camp as well?
How?
They're both movies.
Oh. I never thought about it that way.
That's why people listen to this show, isn't it? To be informed and entertained.
Erik, I have to ask you, did you like Michael's car at least?
You see, I have no interest in cars. I'm the only boy in the world who's no interest in cars.
I don't either.
I don't. I have a driving license, but I've never had a car to accompany the driving license.
No, I have a vehicle, but I'm not crazy about cars either. It's more of a practical thing for me. It's nothing I want to go wash and show off. I mean, who would want to show off my ugly car? So I agree with you.
Well, there you go. So if you're into automobiles, don't listen to the Hysteria Continues. So Eric's just driving bears, aren't you?
And 3 white dots.
Yes, 3 white dots. 4 white dots, wasn't it?
And I think we've lost him again.
Have we lost him again?
Yes, we have. He might have to tether his connection to the 3G after all.
Sounds painful.
Yeah.
Okay, and on that bombshell, here's my number 3 most annoying slasher movie character.
Oh, God, I think I'm gonna puke. Can we get the fuck out of here?
Not yet.
Tell me what the fuck we're looking for.
Proof that someone was here.
You don't have to be fucking Einstein to figure that out.
I mean someone specific.
Tell me what the fucking specific you're looking for?
Do you have to say fuck with everything?
It's this fucking early and this fucking creepy and with this fucking hangover, you better bet your fucking life I say fucking with every fucking thing.
There's nothing here.
The fucking shit.
Yes. Any ideas who that is?
I have no fucking idea.
It sounds like me.
Cusses a lot.
I haven't said any swear words this episode, have I?
Probably not, actually, no.
No, so keep your
Yes, you
fucking
did,
mouth shut.
because you said, I could be wrong, but I think during the return to Salem's Lot, you said it's so fucking awful.
Okay, well, I do apologise. But anyway, I don't apologise. But that was Mark from Fatal Pulse, who is the lead's best friend, who is really annoying frat boy. And obviously, slasher movies have got lots of annoying frat boys, but this one is especially annoying. The only thing I can relate to him, obviously, is the being hungover part. But the rest of it, he's just wearing. He wears. Actually, there's a connection with this film in Cheerleader Camp. Do you know what it is?
Here we go again.
Yeah. I have no idea.
It's a really tenuous one, but Mark wears one of those beer can hats that one of the characters in Cheerleader Camp
Timmy wears. Yeah.
Yes. But he's just really, really, really annoying. In fact, what I did to find my top 3, I went through Hysteria Lives and I searched for the word annoying in there, and Mark came up as the first one, I think. So he is just incredibly annoying character who just is not funny. He only made one. I think the actor was Blair Kirsch. He only made that one film, so it's understandably. But his character was incredibly annoying. So that is my number 3.
Good choice.
So, thank you.
He is annoying.
Nobody likes a potty mouth.
Exactly. Yes.
It's not grown up or clever.
Is it not, Erik?
No.
Okay.
It's not,
right.
Justin. No.
Okay. Right.
Speaking of potty mouths, I think we're about to get on to a real potty mouth.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, there may be a few more F-bombs coming up. But before we get to that, we have a little bit of the classic.
I need you to write me up a prescription, please.
Lori, that's not the answer. Are you doing your breathing exercises?
Breathing exercises?
Yes, it helps.
Breathing exercises aren't gonna cut it. Like, I can't deal with this. I'm not strong enough, and I'm tired of pretending that I am.
Look, Lori, listen to me. Stay with me. You are so much stronger than you think you are. You are. Now, come on, sit down. Sit down.
Better fucking let me go and give me some fucking prescription.
I'm going to give you some Haldol to tide you over.
Haldol?
And yes, Haldol. It'll take some of these thoughts away.
I
and
don't
we'll
want Haldol. I want my prescription.
I'm so sorry you're going through this.
And so am I.
How on earth did you get footage of Justin as GP?
Oh, Erik.
That's for me to
cunt.
know and for you to find out. Oh, yeah. But anyway, I think we've all said how much we hate Rob Zombie's Halloween films. For me, especially Halloween 2. Actually, I think I hated the first one more. But anyway, Laurie is just a complete unlikable bitch in this film. And there's so much dialogue to choose from, but, I didn't really want to spend too much time watching this film, so I picked this scene where she's just screaming and whining and cussing just to kind of showcase what how much I just hate her in this film. She's just so terrible, and Rob Zombie is just a terrible writer. I mean, he's a decent director, I'll give him that, but he's just an awful writer. This movie's awful. She's awful. Let's just skip it. And the sad thing is, that's my number 2. That's not even my number 1. So if someone can beat Laurie from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, then we're in for a world of hurt.
Ooh. Well, I think there may be something slightly worse coming up from me in a bit, but who knows? Go vying for the number 2 or number 1, the most annoying character. But I think, yes, I mean, she is whiny, and that was, of course, it makes me feel sad as well. That was the wonderful, and I can't remember her name now. Plays psychiatrist in that.
Scout Taylor. Oh, you're talking about the psychiatrist?
Yeah, that was Margot Kidder.
Malcolm McDowell.
No, Margot Kidder. Wasn't it Margot Kidder
sorry.
in that scene?
Was that Margot Kidder?
She plays a doctor.
Was it?
I think
I don't remember.
Margot Kidder was in... Let me have a look. Talk amongst yourselves while I look this up.
I just remember Erik one time bringing up Laurie from Halloween 2, where she finds out Michael's her brother, and she's just screaming obscenities over and over.
Yeah, she's in a car driving and she's just shouting obscenities, and that was the point I was like, I want to go home.
What I love about the original Halloween 2 is that, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie, she spends most of the movie just kind of, she's kind of woozy and she's trying to get away and she can't, and, her fear is basically in a lot of facial expressions and just trying to, hobbling along with this, and she's just sitting there screaming constantly at the top of her lungs. It's so shrill. I just couldn't stand it. Ugh, what an awful movie.
Never be able to understand why he made Laurie into such an unlikable character.
I will never be able to understand the people who actually prefer these movies over the originals.
No, well, it's
all
an
the
age
cursing
thing,
and screaming. Wow,
that was Margot Kidder. She was in Halloween 2. Was that from Halloween 2?
Yes, it was.
Okay, she played Barbara Collier. I thought maybe it sounded a bit like her. I knew she was in it, but so I've only put myself through The Pain once, and of course,
yeah, me too.
That's enough.
But also, we know
the sound was enough for me. I'll never watch that movie again ever.
We are tempting fate, aren't we, by offering chances for people to say which films we should watch.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Please, somebody pick something good for the last pick. I beg of you.
Not Halloween 1 and 2, Rob Zombie's
please.
1 and 2 double feature. That would be bad. So, okay. Right. Okay.
Doesn't it bother you that he's a fag? Tell me, Bill. Are you a fag?
No.
I'm going to ask you again. Keep in mind that it pisses me off when people lie to me. Are you a fag?
You're crazy.
Phil Brody. Remember him? The man that got wasted here? Well, he was a fag. And it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense for a fag to be raping your aunt. Now, does it? What does make sense is if you are a fag, too. Now, I'm just postulating, but I believe that you and Phil Brody were having a lover's quarrel. And the thing got a little out of hand. And your aunt walked in and saw you with a knife in your hand and decided to take the rap. Isn't that the way it happened, ma'am?
Filthy pig! You think you got it all figured out, don't you? Well, you're wrong.
Maybe. On your outside jumper, stay loose. Helps. And your wrist, keep it limp-like. That shouldn't be too difficult for you.
Okay, Nathan, what was that, and why did you pick it?
That was the detective, Carlson, I believe his name is, from Night Warning, a.k.a. Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. And I picked him for obvious reasons. I mean, this guy makes the three girls from the last slumber party seem like flag members. I mean, like, he is like the biggest homophobe I've seen in a horror movie. And he has this stupid theory that's actually completely incorrect, because, I mean, it's not a spoiler. I mean, Susan Tyrell, the aunt, is the killer in Night Warning, and that's not a spoiler at all. I mean, we know that from the beginning. And he just thinks that her nephew is gay and will not let off that theory. Plus, he also just has this way of, like, being smarmy and smug throughout the whole movie. And you just kind of want to punch him.
I would agree with that. I think it's, he plays, the character is, succeeds, isn't it, in being horrible.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The actors,
he was meant to be.
The actor's really well done, but the character's totally obnoxious and,
exactly
unlikable. Night Warning is such a fantastic movie, but yeah, you're right. He is just a terrible character.
Excellent. Are you still with us, Erik?
I am.
Yay! Eric's still here. I don't see any white dots.
No.
Yes, I've been having internet woes, which is why we've been recording for an hour and a half, and we probably have about 10 minutes of footage.
So, yes, it's shaping up to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you seen Night Warning, Erik?
I have, yeah, but I haven't seen it in a while, so I didn't actually recognise the clip, but it was terribly offensive.
Yes. But a very good pick there, Nathan. So, and also, do you know what the link is between Cheerleader Camp and Night Warning? It's a genuine.
Now we're not going to have anything to talk about on the Cheerleader Camp.
No, it's a genuine link.
And we won't get there for another 10 hours because Erik will probably get disconnected another 10.
No, well, the link is that Jimmy McNichol, who played the character there, the younger character, Susan Tyrrell's nephew, was up for the role that Leif Garrett had in Cheerleader Camp. And he actively auditioned. He said he wanted it, but the producers wanted Leif Garrett because of his dubious or his fading sort of star value. So a genuine, link there. I think you'll find.
My link was genuine as well.
Yeah.
I think you're insinuating that my link was tenuous, but it wasn't.
I can't even remember what your link was. It was so long ago.
Yeah. It was about 2 days ago.
Yeah. Anyway,
okay. Right. I will play. Thank you, Nathan. I'll play this cat for Erik for your big number
Yay.
2.
Bradley will take some getting used to. He's really a nice guy, just a little nervous. And I think you'll find his son quite amusing, or at least different.
Well?
Steak, I told you to shut that damn thing off! I'm gonna kill you!
I got you!
Damn you, little creep! Come on, slowpoke! I'm gonna kill you!
Oh, wow. My lucky day. 2 for the price of 1.
I've got you now. Scott.
You!
Will you get the hell out of here? Steak, this is your last time.
Uh-oh, I think a complication is developing. You get a rain check.
Each time he dies, I promise you he dies!
Okay, Erik.
Okay, well, that is the wonderfully named Mistake from 1981's Home Sweet Home. We meet him first playing his electric guitar, and he's dressed in mime or sort of Kiss style makeup, and basically that's all there is to his character. He goes around with an amplifier attached to his back like a rucksack, playing his electric guitar, sneaking up on people who are trying to make out or have sex, whatever. He's annoying his father as well, and there's several sort of mini Benny Hill style chases around the location, around the house and the grounds, involving Mistake. He transcends an annoying character and goes into a sort of what the F character, because it's just, what were they thinking? I mean, let's have a character who's in mime makeup and plays a guitar a lot. Thankfully, and this is a spoiler alert, I suppose, of some kind, he does get killed later in the film, courtesy of the electric guitar. He's electrocuted, in fact. So I was happy to see the end of Mistake. I do think it's a great character name, though. What? You like Mistake?
I liked Mistake. Yeah, I do.
Oh man!
I mean,
no.
I love the.
Why?
I love the scene where the killer is descending upon him, and he offers to play the killer a song if he'll let him live.
I know.
Well, then he's rightfully
Talk about
killed.
digging your own grave. Yeah.
But I love the character. I think he's funny.
He doesn't even play tunes. He just plays the same sort of 3 or 4 notes over and over.
It's like a half-assed guitar solo. It just does not even.
Yeah, it is totally.
Yeah. He's no Steve Vai or Eddie Van Halen or whatever.
He has the very sweet moment with the little girl where he was showing her magic tricks.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Oh, well, geez.
Yeah.
I have to side with Erik on this one.
Mistake just can't win.
Oh.
Mistake just can't win.
Mistake is a mistake.
Absolutely. But a very good choice, though, Erik.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, right. Well, as we rattle through these at one every hour in real time, here's my cat.
Before I came here, I never had anything to do, me being an orphan and all.
No.
People always teased me about sitting around like some kind of pig or something. But here it's different. I can help others and do a lot of things. You know something? I really love it here.
I hate it.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, I never really chopped wood before, but it certainly looks like fun. Leave me alone!
Yes, that was... How could I not include a Friday 13th Part 5 character? And there were so many to choose from.
No!
Yes.
I love everybody in that film. I mean, he is annoying, I'll give him that, but at the same time, he has that great death scene, so... But,
He is annoying, but at the same time, he's annoying.
Yes.
Yes,
but,
well, he's just annoying.
I like him somehow. I don't know why, but I do.
Well, the thing is, there's the reasons I chose him. One was that we'd already covered Ethel and Joe Junior at quite some length, and I find them both incredibly annoying characters. But I can start to warm to them if seen through that kind of filter of what is Friday 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. But Joey, Dominic Braskia, Joey, I mean, on one hand, the character is the epitome of annoying. He's so annoying that a character who's not Jason chops him up with an axe right at the beginning of the film. And he annoys everyone. He annoys the girls because he gets chocolate on their not their muffin, on their washing.
On their linens.
On their clean sheets.
On their clean sheets, exactly. And then he annoys that guy who's chopping wood. I can't remember his name.
Vic.
So much, Vic, that's right. So much that Vic takes the axe and chops him up. And of course, he is the catalyst for what happens in Friday the 13th Part 5, his death anyway. But also, it is a little bit, the fact is he's playing somebody with a kind of a learning difficulty, isn't he? Which makes it even more, I wouldn't say offensive, but certainly kind of crossing a line. So yeah, that was the reason. But he is also, I chose it really because he is actually playing a character who's meant to be annoying, so annoying that he gets murdered. Pretty much even before the opening credits roll. So yes, that was my number 2.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I cannot wait till we get to Friday the 13th Part 5. Yes. Oh, it's going to be so epic.
And do you know do you know what the link is between?
What is the link, Justin?
I don't know. So I'll leave you in suspense. But while we think about that, I'm sure. I bet there is some link.
The years that both were made start with the digits 198.
And that's the years we've been recording this.
Yes,
198.
Well, Joseph, here's your number 1.
Yeah, my mind's busting a fat laugh here, Lee. Bitch-ass trick! Oh, what the fuck? Yo, I'm out, yo!
Oh, wow. That was Loops. If he couldn't be any more annoying, it's spelled Loopz from Detour from 2003, also known as Hell's Highway. And just imagine if someone, had the audacity to cast Fred Durst or Vanilla Ice and as the hero of a slasher film. He basically speaks in Ebonical tongue through the whole film, and you want him to die so bad. I mean, he never shuts up. He's always like screaming in loud obscenities and the whole yo-yo boy thing, and he never dies. He's actually the hero of the film. He's the one who saves everyone and saves the day. And it's such a terrible film, and he's such an awful, awful character. And he rightfully deserves, even worse than Laurie, he deserves the number 1 spot, in my opinion.
I haven't had the dubious pleasure of watching
Oh,
Detour.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, you never know. Somebody might choose that as the last spot.
Please.
I think I have had the displeasure of watching Detour, but I can't remember much about it. So
good for you. Good for you.
Although
all I
would
remember is him.
I would watch a film starring Vanilla Ice, though. A slasher movie starring Vanilla Ice would be awesome.
See, they should have the Vanilla Ice and the Fred Durst, and then have Snow, all getting killed by someone who hates the whole fake rap thing.
Wait, Eric,
Fake?
did you know that Jedward are going to be in Sharknado 2?
I did. It's fantastic.
Well, I say fake, Eric, because I just don't think I don't think us white people should be rapping. I think we should leave that to the people of color, because they're so much better at it than we are.
That's possibly something we can get onto in cheerleader camp.
Now, did you know that that Vanilla Ice, there is a link to cheerleader camp?
Yes, white rapping.
Yeah, too cold. Exactly, that's it. That's what I was going for. Yeah.
To the extreme, I rock like a vandal right on the stage. I'm like, I can't even remember the line.
Oh, Eric.
Sorry. Yeah. To the extreme, I wax the mic like a vandal.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal.
Like a vandal, light up the stage, and wax
like
a candle. Like a candle.
Yes.
That's it.
Now, I like the ninja rap from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. So there you go. There's something you don't know about me. It's Vanilla Ice. So.
Well, I'm sure Justin is a big fan as well.
Go, Justin, go, Justin, go. Go, yes. Justin, go, Justin, go.
I think what I'll do, I wouldn't say I was a fan of Vanilla Ice, really. I would say probably slightly less than a fan, probably slightly more than hate him. But
where would you level him out with someone like, say, Toya?
Toya? Well, there's no contest, is there?
Yes, go on, finish that sentence.
Sorry?
Go on, finish that sentence. I know what's coming.
Well, no, I'm going to call a truce here, because I could say, Toya looks like a foghorn, and Vanilla Ice looks like some kind of Con 2 character who's, in balloon pants. They're all God's creatures in their own way. So, not that I believe in God, but anyway, I think this is turning into the Bloody Moon episode, so I'm going to play Nathan's
totally is.
number one.
Yeah.
My God! Are you insane?
He was throwing eggs at me, and he was hurting me!
So for that you try to kill him?
Let me go, you big pussy!
You don't tell me what to do!
Let me go! You all suck! I hope you die!
More potty mouth. Nathan, what was that? And what was that from?
Awful. That was Alan from Return to Sleepaway Camp.
Oh.
I know we've talked about him, but I mean, he really is, for me, the most annoying character I've ever seen in any slasher movie. I mean, I can't say anything that I haven't already said. He deserved to get bullied. Angela should have killed him. The end.
Is he the one who complains about being bullied, although he's a bully himself?
Yes,
Like
he'll go up behind girls and pull their hair, and then if they fight back, they're bullying him.
I hate people who do that.
Yeah, Eric. That's funny, isn't it?
It is funny.
It's like looking in a mirror, Eric, isn't it?
I don't know what you mean.
No, when I was making that clip, I picked the shortest scene possible because I couldn't stand to listen to him. The same I did with Loops from Detour. I just picked the shortest ones just so I could be done with it.
So you do all the sound clips for Nathan?
Yes.
I have issues with
I did anything that's Nathan episode, intro, sound clips.
I want to be able to do the intros, but a few times I've tried to do them. I don't know. There's just something about my laptop or something. It gets a lot of static, and it just doesn't sound very good.
Or another way to approach the subject is that Joseph is your bitch.
Well, I mean,
no, I'm a nice guy.
It goes without saying.
And Eric, stop looking in the mirror.
Yes.
Eric is the Alan of the podcast.
Yeah. Eric's ass stinks.
What?
Let's throw
That's what Alan always says.
Yeah.
Let's throw eggs in here.
Yeah. So I didn't mean literally.
I haven't
Eric.
seen Return to Sleepaway Camp, so.
Oh, well, you're just lucky then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dare you to watch that movie.
I dare you as well.
I double dare you, triple dare you.
Oh, well, I'll have to do it then, won't I?
He'll actually probably like it because him and Alan share so much in common.
I don't like the way this conversation's going.
I'm just kidding, Eric. You're no Al. You're Al. You're half Alan. You're Al.
Okay. Well, let's move this on swiftly before it turns into a complete train wreck. Into who's is
Eric.
Eric.
My number one.
Yes. Number one.
Now just tell me what happened. Just tell us what happened. What happened, CJ? How did you get like
Man, out by the street, he tried to kill me with a knife.
What?
It hurts. Oh, Mommy, it hurts.
CJ, let's catch up.
I've had it. I've had it with these tricks. Just love to scare all of us, don't you? We could have had an accident out there driving so fast, but you don't care about that, do you?
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo, stick your head and do, do.
That was Eric's home movie.
Eric?
That's Justin.
Eric?
That's Justin.
Eric?
Eric?
Why do you all assume that's me? That's Justin.
You dug out your home movies, didn't you, from when you were a kid?
I don't like you all. You're all horrible.
I didn't say anything.
Here we go.
I know, you're okay, Nathan, but the other two are horrible to me. That's CJ. CJ, and the J stands for Justin from Nightmare, or Nightmares in the Damaged Brain. Mm-hmm. And he likes to play lots of OTT practical jokes, including that one that we just heard where he pretends he's been stabbed. He covers his white T-shirt in tomato ketchup and gets his parents to rush home from, his mother and his stepfather, to rush home from their, I think they're having sex on a yacht or something. And she's visibly distressed and she's crying. And then he, tells them all, oh, it's just a joke. And he laughs it off. The nanny nanny boo boo stick your head in doo doo scene line is from a different scene where he scares a babysitter with a scary mask. But the character is just so incredibly obnoxious. I mean, I hate kids in horror films as it is, but he sort of takes it to a new level. His character is easily as annoying as any of the chavs in Eden Lake, in my opinion. I find him nauseating beyond belief. And then the film, like, he ends up being spoiler alert, he ends up being the final girl, in inverted commas. And it even ends with him smiling smugly at the camera and giving a wink. Oh, I want a sequel to that film where he is, horribly decapitated in the opening 5 minutes.
Mm.
I just find him horrible.
That's a very good choice, actually. He's an incredibly annoying little shit, isn't he?
He is. Although I do love the line, nanny, nanny, boo-boo, stick your head in doo-doo. It's a line I use a lot, especially in the workplace. I
can imagine as part of your bullying, your sort of passive-aggressive bullying.
You passive-aggressive bitch.
Well, Justin, I suggest that you stick your head in doo-doo.
Oh.
That's what I suggest.
Yes. Well, I think we can all hear the truth, can't we, there? So, anyone else got anything to say about Nightmare?
No.
That little kid was a nightmare.
Yeah,
yes.
he was.
Yeah.
He was. But no, it's very
and he has a damaged brain.
He does have a damaged brain. Yeah. But I think my number one might outdo all of yours. But let's see.
Wish. Ah, damn it! What the hell is wrong with you? I said, what you looking at me like that for? Huh? You don't get it? You don't get it? Your shit ain't waking up there or something? You need to take your ass in the back of the garage with Nora. That's your job. Go back there with Nora and help her ass out. Go do your job. I left the back door unlocked for your ass to go out the back into the garage. That's what I did. You need to get the hell out of here. Go ahead, scoot, skedaddle. Get the fuck out of Dodge. God damn. What the hell somebody gotta do to get a little decent help up in this motherfucker?
Yes. And perhaps you can see, perhaps you can see why I chose Busta Rhymes in Halloween Resurrection. He was. I still remember seeing that film at the cinema, and the whole audience was just laughing at his, because that scene takes place. If you've not seen Halloween Resurrection, the whole car crash of that movie is it takes place in the Myers house. And it's being filmed to a reality TV show, and it was already a concept which was already about 5 years old, with My Little Lie and stuff had gone a number of years before. So it wasn't even a new concept, but they were going to be, Busta Rhymes is playing Michael Myers, the pretend Michael Myers, to scare the people in the house. The real Michael Myers turns up, so they have this face-off between the real Michael Myers and Busta Rhymes as Michael Myers, where Busta Rhymes not only does that muffled diatribe against Michael Myers, but then he does kung fu as well. So I think arguably that moment is the nadir or the nadir of the Halloween franchise, even perhaps more so than Rob Zombie's abortions. But that's open for argument.
I would
disagree.
Because at least I could laugh at that. Whereas Rob Zombie's films, I cringe and I want to die. So
I think Halloween Resurrection is far superior to Rob Zombie's two films, and I think there are two films in the two sequels in the original run that are inferior to it as well.
Okay, right. Well, what about you, Nathan?
I do think it's a good choice though, because Busta Rhymes is horrible in it.
I've only seen Resurrection once, and it was when it came out in the theater. So I don't remember anything about it at all, except I hate the beginning scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis, because I thought their whole explanation for the end of H2O was really incredibly lame.
It is incredibly lame, in fairness.
Yes.
Hilariously so, though.
Well, that was I was just throwing that out as an opinion, but I just think the Busta Rhymes. I think because the thing is, rappers in horror movies aren't always awful. I mean, LL Cool J in Halloween H2O was quite good. I thought it was quite relatable and quite likable, and he was pretty good in Deep Blue Sea. A few other films, but Busta Rhymes was just it's just a cynical move to put a rapper in another Halloween film to appeal to a certain audience, and he's just horrible in it. But Tyra Banks gets murdered.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyra's in there as well for another audience.
She's not smizing at the end, though, is she?
Oh, pity, yeah. She doesn't smize at the end.
Now that we've all got our top threes out of the way, I actually thought of two that I cannot believe I forgot about, and I'm just going to go ahead and name them now. One is the guy with the mustache from Twisted Nightmare. Do you remember him?
I don't remember that movie very well.
Well, he's
I haven't seen the movie.
He's an asshole to the nth degree, and I can't believe I forgot him. And the other one, I was reminded of this when Justin played his Busta Rhymes clip, was Jack Black and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe I forgot him.
Well, I forgot the little kid Trick or Treats.
Trick or Treats, yes.
Oh, did I get...
Yes.
You got a little Skype remix there, but it was Trick or Treats.
Oh, I was trying to rap, but
yeah.
okay.
You did a pretty good job. But no, yes, those are the most annoying characters. And the fact is, maybe we cursed the show by doing annoying characters because they've just made this show a bit annoying, haven't they?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good, but
you
annoying.
might like it listening back, but recording has been a hassle.
It's been a bitch, isn't it?
Yes.
But we are now going to segue neatly onto Cheerleader Camp. So what we're going to do is going to play the trailer, and then Nathan's going to come back in and give us an introduction. So here's the trailer for Cheerleader Camp.
Every year, the finalists for the Miss Cheerleader USA contest travel to this secluded camp.
Hey, there is no going back.
For some, it will be the crowning achievement of their lives.
I'm gonna win that queen contest.
Nerves are on edge.
There's something eating at everybody, right?
Ever since we've been here, it's never a good night.
Jealousies are exposed, and hatreds explode. This year, something evil has come over the contestants.
And she's sure them to kill her.
The instructors,
You're a mascot, not a human.
the judges, and the hired help.
I hope you die.
Something is about to make them all victims of Cheerleader Camp.
Start with Allison. She's so fine. So look at her long or you'll go blind. Next is Pam. She comes out with a bam and will tell you this, she ain't no sham. Next is Bonnie. She acts kind of funny. Steal your heart, but not your money. Can't forget Teresa. She's got what it takes. Putting her on this team was no mistake. Last is Corey, and this is her story. She's our gator, you'll be seeing her later.
Betsy Russell, Leif Garrett, Lucinda Dickey, Laurie Griffin.
We gotta walk out of here.
It's at least 40 miles.
Finally, something to die for. Cheerleader Camp.
As the Lindo Valley squad arrives at Cheerleader Camp for district finals, some have their eyes on winning, while others have their eyes on the beautiful bodies bouncing around them. Haunted by bad dreams, sexy Allison Wentworth has no idea what a nightmare cheerleading camp will become. The competition is stiff in more ways than one. Yell leader Brent, Allison's boyfriend, flirts with a buxom cheerleader named Susie, and later Susie's found dead from an apparent suicide, and Lindo Valley's cheerleaders start dropping like pom-poms. That sounds like a pretty apt description of the film. So I'm a huge fan of Cheerleader Camp. I saw it years ago, and I think that it's kind of a brainless good time. You know, the comedy bits don't really bother me that badly. You know, I know for some people they aren't really a big fan of that part of it, but to me, I just love the cheesiness of the whole movie, and it's obvious they're not trying to take themselves too seriously. I love the scenes where Allison dreams and she's slashing up a girl with her pom-poms, like they're made of razors or something. And her boyfriend, Leif Garrett, plays her boyfriend Brent, and he is one of the worst boyfriends ever. There's a scene where Allison's swimming in, the lake or whatever area they're in, and Brent is like massaging, Pam, and he's being very seductive, and Allison sees it and gets upset and splashes him, and he's like, "Hey, cut it out." Like, it's very annoying that my girlfriend is upset that I'm coming on to another girl right in front of her face. I love Miss Tipton. As a matter of fact, if I could go back in time, I probably would have put her in one of my top 3 bitches segments. As a matter of fact, I always get a kick out of the line towards the beginning where Allison's distracted and Miss Tipton's calling her name. And when she finally gets back into reality, she's like, "Oh, here, Miss Tip Tits." That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, actually.
It's Tipton.
Yes, Miss Tipton.
Yes. Sorry, no, that's what she says when she says one and says, "Oh, sorry, Miss Tipton." She said, "No, it's Tipton," doesn't she?
Yeah. I love that line. I'm still laughing about it. And one thing I had to point out is I love that when you look at the mascot, it's like, whose mascot is a mouse? Like, what high school has a mouse for a mascot? Or a chicken?
It's not very threatening or intimidating or anything.
We're the Cleveland Chickens. But, I really love the movie. And if I had to pick another scene that I thought was absolutely hilarious, it's when Allison wakes up and Corey's looking over her with the gator head on, and Allison screams, and like the scream seems to go on forever. And then Corey's like, "God, what's the matter with you?" I'm like, what do you expect when you wake her up with a giant gator right in her face? Why would she wake her up with her mask on? But anyway, let's see. What do you think about it, Justin?
It's funny. I read back the review I wrote a long, long time ago. It must have been one of the first reviews or one of the early reviews I wrote for Hysteria Lives. And I remember really, really enjoying it, and pretty much in the same vein that you enjoyed it. I would say possibly didn't enjoy it quite as much this time. Possibly because this time I kept on comparing it to Sleepaway Camp, which I felt it was trying to ape Sleepaway Camp a bit, and I didn't think it was a good bad movie, or as not bad movie, but like as Sleepaway Camp. I think partly only really probably because I think I prefer slash movies from the early 80s to the ones from the late 80s. Having said that, there's an awful lot in there to enjoy. It really reminded me, growing up in the 80s and hiring films, because on video, obviously it had a lot of horror movies, but there was an awful lot of Porky's style rip-offs, which are now pretty much forgotten, but there was a million of them you could hire back in the day, and it was very much in that kind of vein, a lot of it, certainly the first third to first half of the movie. And the scene where it pans across of all of the mascots all trying to eat in the cafeteria, and they can't eat, and Miss Tipton's making them eat with their masks on, and they're trying to stuff hot dogs and stuff into the little cracks, and and they can't do it. It just really reminded me of those kind of movies, because that seemed to be every kind of teenage sex farce. There'd always be some kind of panning shot showing something, people in various states of undress or various other things, and so. But having said that, I did really like it, and I thought it had an interesting. It's interesting the way that it goes from that kind of broad sex farce, which, given who made it and who appeared in it, isn't hugely surprising, but then goes into like the horror movie, the slasher movie, almost kind of straight, but not quite straight towards the end of it. So it was mixed feelings. I kept on comparing it to Sleepaway Camp, and I don't think it's as good as Sleepaway Camp or as much fun as Sleepaway Camp. I think there are some misfires in there, so it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. But that's my tuppence for the moment.
Joseph?
Well, yeah, I do love Cheerleader Camp. One thing I really do like about this movie is that it has like the whole Porky style antics through most of the movie, but at the very end, like the last 15 minutes, it gets kind of dark with a lot of the murders just kind of ramping up, and it's got this kind of chilly night kind of atmosphere at the camp, and with these people running around the woods trying to figure out who the killer is. And I found, I guess we always spoil these films, so I guess I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. I found the idea, the killer turns out to be, spoiler alert, Corey, the mascot, played by Lucinda Dickey. I found the...
No!
I for some reason, I think they were kind of making it a comical kind of ending, but for some reason I found that whole ending where Betsy Russell's character is being dragged away to the mental asylum and Corey's out there doing her cheers because she's essentially, won. She's essentially, came out on top. I found that kind of creepy in its own little way, but just getting back to the movie itself, I do enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of stupid comedy, but it's got a lot of comedy that actually works. And for the most part, I like all the characters. I think they're kind of likable in their own way, and some of them are rightfully unlikable, but they're not obnoxious or anything. But and I love Buck Flower. I wish he were still alive. I would have done anything to have got an interview with him about this movie. I love his character. He's so just one of those I'm so tired of this bullshit attitude the whole time. These kids are annoying him, and he's always saying stuff like, that bitch is going to push me too far, and I hope you die. And he's just kind of got that look on his face like, God damn, I have to deal with these kids again. I really liked his character in the film. I think Betsy Russell, her acting leaves a little to be desired, but I think she's a competent, kind of final girl. And even Leif Garrett, who's a terrible boyfriend, I found him somewhat kind of sympathetic. Not through most of the movie, but towards the end, you kind of get back on his side. And I like Travis McKenna, the big, practical Joker guy. And I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I did like it. Like Justin said, I think I like Sleepaway Camp, which it does kind of have that kind of Sleepaway Camp feel. I think I like Sleepaway Camp more, but yeah, I'd pretty much agree with Justin. It's a good, fun popcorn film. Turn your brain off, sit back, and just have fun.
Agreed. I have to say though, I agree with you about the ending scene with Corey. And I had a couple of points about that. Number one is how ironic it is that she wants to be a cheerleader, wants to be like one of the cheerleader popular girls so bad. And when you see her doing her cheers at the end, she's really good.
Yeah, it was funny. She's actually better at it than everyone else in the movie.
I know.
She's better.
Constantly tumbling, or they're not even paying attention to their cheers. It's all this drama, and then at the end, she's got perfect form. And I guess you can kind of attribute that to Lucinda Dickey, who's like an aerobics,
she's a dancer,
goddess.
right?
Yeah, dancer, aerobics goddess, and she's really bendable and flexible, and so she can pull off those moves really well. And it's fun. It is funny. Her character appears to know more about cheerleading than anyone else in the movie, and she's the mascot.
The best one.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, also wanted to say right before we get to Erik, is it was pretty ballsy of her to be doing her psychotic cheer while the ambulance was driving past her.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy.
The cop would be like, "What the hell is she doing?"
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, I forgot. I do like a lot of the death scenes as well, especially the hedge clipper ones through the back of the head and out the girl's mouth and the blood spitting out. I think that was a really well done effect, and I love when they actually find the body later on in the film. I thought that was kind of creepy. The shot was really creepy.
And Erik, what do you think of Cheerleader Camp and Corey?
Okay, well, I think I've spoken to you about this before. I only saw Cheerleader Camp for the first time maybe a year or two ago, and I wasn't terribly enamored to it because of the frat boy humor that was so prevalent, particularly early on in the film. When Timmy sticks his arse out the window of the van and it gets stuck, and then he ends up breaking wind in Miss Tipton's face, I was like, okay, this movie isn't for me. I mean, I'm not a fan of those type of movies. As much critical praise as something like American Pie and Superbad got, I absolutely despised both of those films. So I got off on the wrong foot with Cheerleader Camp, and when I first viewed it, I just wrote it off, saying, okay, it's not a film I like. Rewatching it for the podcast, though, in the last 2 weeks has changed my opinion somewhat. I found that the frat boy humor didn't dominate the film as much as I originally thought. I mean, it's there in early on in the film, but it kind of, moves to the background a bit, and it becomes more of a traditional slasher movie than I originally viewed it as. It's tongue in cheek, but it's tongue in cheek in a good way that I think, something like Jason Lives is. It's fun, yet it still manages to be a slasher movie. It still manages to have scares and gore. And, so the second viewing I found really rewarding, I have to say. And my enjoyment is helped immensely by the presence of the divine Lucinda Dickey as Corey, obviously. She's in 3 of the best movies from 1984, Ninja 3 and Breakin' 1 and Breakin' 2. So, I mean, if she's in a movie, I'm going to like it. So I think you've talked about the ending. I think the ending is really well done. It's clever. And it's really well directed and executed. I mean, I know Corey is there doing her cheers as the ambulance passes by, but the way it intercuts between Corey doing the cheers and Alison in the ambulance, I think is really well done. And, the ending is so strong. I think you leave the film thinking, yeah, that was really, really good. I mean, I could do without the character of Timmy, I have to say. I mean, he's not obnoxious, but he just seems to have drifted in from another movie. He's coming from a Porky's movie or a Screwballs movie, so I could do with him being eliminated from the film, to be honest.
I like Timmy. No,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. I don't despise him or anything. I just think that the humor that accompanies his character, I could do without.
Now that we're talking, sorry, Eric. Now we're talking about the humor. I might be alone in this, but this movie kind of reminds me a bit of Rush Week with the whole kind of frat humor, and then it kind of gets serious at the end.
I didn't notice the frat humor being as prominent in Rush Week, I have to say. I don't remember anyone's arse, sticking out a window and breaking wind in someone's face.
And that was a big old arse, wasn't it?
That was a huge arse.
Well, then, Eric, I thought you might have liked that.
Yeah, I thought this might come up. No, I don't like that. It's a bit too big for my liking. Yes.
I liked it. Just barely slapping it with a clipboard got him unstuck.
Yes,
I know. I like the fact that she doesn't all she does is just slap him with a clipboard. I'm surprised she didn't go ew.
But also, don't you think at the end of the film, towards the end of the film, when they're all being, the murders are started in full on horror mode, and then basically he decides to stop and have a wank, doesn't he?
I thought he was having a wee.
I thought he was having yeah.
Oh, I thought he was
saying peeing.
Oh, well, although having a wank would stand about par for the course, to be honest.
That would.
It would, wouldn't it? So I just thought it was it was that kind of thing. And then, of course, he gets quite a gory demise, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
On camera.
His is probably the goriest, even gorier than the shears through the back of the head and out through the mouth.
And this movie does a bit of the found footage thing where they go back and they see his death had been caught on camera.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what links it to Cloverfield.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And the weirdest thing is, Allison's not, an unlikable final girl, but she's just so weak that in the end, I almost was kind of glad Corey, pinned all the murders on her. I like that Corey got away with it.
I felt bad for Corey.
I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, I was rooting for Corey. So when she, was doing her cheers, I was giving her a big Corey the whole time.
And the only death.
Corey, Corey.
No,
Can't you spell?
It's just Corry.
Corry.
Is it? I thought she said EY. Is it?
No, it's just Y.
I think. Aw. Well, sure. Corey. We all love Corey.
You're thinking of Haim and Feldog.
Oh, that does remind me. I did watch. Speaking of Haim, I did watch Silver Bullet last night to cleanse my palate for that awful parasitic movie. But anyway, so that's the connection to Cheerleader Camp.
Can I just ask, how old are cheerleaders in real life?
About 15, 16.
Are they? Because all of the
unless they're on professional football.
Have them.
Yeah, professional football is 21 to 25. So I don't know if these were supposed to be high school students, but they all looked like about 35.
They pretty much all of them were about between 25 and 27 years old.
They looked about our age. They didn't look like teenagers, especially Leif Garrett.
Justin's age, like 72.
Especially Justin gasped. Oh my God. I can't. Especially Leif Garrett. I mean, he's got that bad receding hairline. It's worse than mine.
Oh, yeah, worse than mine even.
Yeah.
That was not a good look for him, was it?
No.
Actually, here's another thing. I have met Leif Garrett. He played in Atlanta in his band, and I took my copy of Cheerleader Camp just to get him to sign it, but I didn't get him to sign it.
Oh.
Because I lost my marker, and he's like, "Well, I don't have anything to write on it with. Let me go find something." And I never saw him again.
Oh.
But his band is not really good, but I just wanted to get him to sign my VHS of Cheerleader Camp. No, I didn't succeed.
Did anyone else notice? Because I mean, you know what the link between Leif Garrett and Xanadu is, don't you? Do you know what Erik? Do you know what the link is?
No. What is the link between Leif Garrett and Xanadu?
Well, it's a tenuous link, but he was
I'm sure it is.
He was a disco star, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. Child pop star.
And did you see there was on Miss Tipton's record player? It was surrounded by Leif Garrett LPs.
I didn't notice.
Yes,
no,
you are ruining my trivia.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh dear.
Well, we might as well move on to trivia.
No, I'm not ready yet.
No.
Can I just say the band that play at the cheerleader camp, whatever it is, disco, sounded like or looked like something Justin would be into. Although when the camera pans back, the bass player is wearing a beret, which kind of ruins the goth ambience.
What, rigor mortis?
They're singing that song "Subway Station."
Yeah. You know what? That's name of the band was Rigor Mortis.
Oh,
I thought the band was called Sounds of Success.
Well, yes, I thought that, but on the commentary, he says the band. I don't know. Maybe they had two.
All right, I didn't listen to it.
It was kind of gothy looking band, wasn't it? But the sound wasn't very gothy, was it?
Who did the commentary?
I thought it was still like.
It was the director and
the producer.
And the producer,
okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard that.
Not Joe, but Justin, I got a lot of our trivia from the commentary.
Okay. Well, I only saw the end of the commentary, the last half an hour. I didn't have time to watch it all, so I haven't got that. So I'm sure you can go first, Nathan, with the trivia anyway.
Oh, well, before I did that, the only thing I wanted to say is, I don't know why, but the scene, it was always kind of odd to me where Allison seems to be extremely thirsty, and she walks into the freezer and grabs like this half gallon of milk and just starts drinking out of it. I mean, it just doesn't seem like something you would want to drink to quench your thirst, I wouldn't think.
Well, if you had something spicy, apparently milk is the best thing to drink.
Maybe she ate like a jalapeno or something.
Maybe she did, yeah.
She'd been in there.
A Scotch bonnet.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the link to other movies. I know it's getting very tenuous here, but no, this is genuine links. One is obviously the obvious nods to A Nightmare on Elm Street, especially in the beginning of the movie where Betsy Russell goes out and does the dream sequence where she's cheerleading, and then she gets slashed, doesn't she, with the pom-poms?
Yeah.
And she gets Freddy Krueger style gashes in her arms and her legs. And the other one was, I don't know, this was made in 1987, and I know Heathers came out in 1987, but I thought there was a definite Heathers feel to some of it, especially with the whole teen suicide thing going on. Because the first murder of the Susie was set up to look like a suicide, wasn't it? And then Miss Tipton gives that whole kind of teen suicide, don't do it style speech.
Did anyone hear that? It's the sound of the bottom of a barrel being scraped, I think.
I haven't mentioned Toya yet.
Well, thankfully someone did kill Susie, so.
Yeah.
What?
That's for you, Erik. That's for you, Erik.
I totally didn't get what you were saying until now.
Yeah.
That's why I did it in the intro. In the intro, it says, even though Susie had everything to live for.
Whatever.
I was just waiting for Erik to come onto that.
Sorry?
I was waiting for you to come onto that.
With his white,
Well, I'll just say, Stop talking about my white dots. It's rude. Two of my actually, you know the way humor normally I'm repulsed by in horror movies, but there's two actual scenes. One of them Justin mentioned is where the camera pans along the mascots and they're all forced to eat their lunch whilst dressed in their full costume, and they're trying to like shove a hot dog through their nose, which is not a sentence I say very often. But also the scene where they have the boobs off, from opposite sides of the river. You have Susie on one side and is Pam on the other, who both take their tops off and have a tits off to see who is the nicest tits. I think it was Susie, to be fair.
I just want to say that, Corey...
I agree.
Corey as the killer, she really got lucky in that Allison had these bad nightmares because it made her so much easier to frame as being the killer. So she really got lucky in that, let's say. It's a big coincidence or so, whatever.
What's great about Corey, though, is that, when you rewatch the movie, you can... It's kind of obvious when the first time you watch it who the killer is, but rewatching it, you can just pick up on all the little subtle things that she's doing to like push Allison, trying to make her think she's crazy.
Well, there's a law to a whodunit. It's that the character who pretty much acts normal, aside from everyone else who all have quirks or kind of red herrings, the one person who acts normal and doesn't really go out of their way to act unnecessarily not normal will turn out to be the killer. So if you ever want to figure out who the killer is, that's a good way of looking at it. And Corey is pretty much the normal compared to everyone else in this movie.
Well, is Corey's big thing was it really just because, hey, they're all popular and I'm not? Was that basically it?
I think that
so,
is.
Yeah.
And my opinion is that of all these people, I like the characters, but of all the people, I would rather hang out with Corey than anyone else.
I would hang out with Bonnie because she was very nice and ditzy.
She would have made our top 3 ditses probably last week if we hadn't been doing the commentary or doing the podcast.
Didn't she make our top 3?
Yeah, I think I picked her. Yeah.
Oh, did you? All right.
Yeah, because you did the honey on her muffin scene. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Honey on her muffin, yes.
Forgive me. It's been 3
thanks
weeks.
for paying attention, Erik.
And the commentary, did you know
I was doing my nails.
Did you know there's a link to our commentary to the Cheerleader Camp episode?
Our commentary to what?
To the last commentary we did.
Oh, for...
Cheerleader Camp. There's a connection.
Terror.
Yes, there's a connection. We're all involved.
Okay.
And we're all involved with this show.
There's breakdancing in Night Train to Terror, and there is in Cheerleader Camp.
Yes, that, and we did the commentary for the Night Train to Terror, and we're doing an episode on Cheerleader Camp.
Did you know there's a connection between my fist and your face?
Yeah.
Have you got a camera?
Bring it on, big boy. I will end you.
That's what Terry Weigel said, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't look up any of her porn stuff because I thought that you perverts could do that instead.
Oh, yes. I'm sure me and Erik have got a good... Shall we come on to that?
I've seen one of her adult outings, and she's quite the actress.
In what way?
That's all I'll say. I'm the person, I'm the chaste non-pervert of the group. So...
What evs?
Yeah. Should we talk about Miss Weigel for a moment?
Is it Weigel or Weigel?
Weigel.
Wiggle.
Wiggle. Yeah, there you go. Wiggle.
Wiggle. Terry Weigel. She made the. Unless you want to talk about her first.
Oh no, I have nothing about her because, like I said, I thought you guys might have better information than me.
Well, she's one of the few people that, well, not few people, I think there has been some actors and actresses who have gone from legitimate roles to porn.
Even Lance quite nice.
Yes, exactly. And she was in Predator 2 as well, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
And she was apparently naked throughout most of that. But she seems to have taken, I haven't seen any of her adult roles, I must admit.
Yeah, whatever.
But some of the, really, Erik, do you think I would?
You're in Spanish countries a lot, so I thought maybe you go to the supermarket and pick up one of her movies.
Well, I did wonder whether Dropping Loads 2 might be a Spanish
that's
supermarket.
what I was going to mention. She's in the Drop and Load series. Have you guys heard of this series?
No, what is it?
Basically, the guy in the Drop and Load series is this really annoying guy. Every time he's getting ready to do the money shot, and I quote, he goes, "Dropping fucking loads all over your face." And then look this up. It's so fucking funny.
Oh my God.
That's his shtick. In everything he's in, he does that right as he's getting ready to do the money shot. But she's in Dropping Loads too. Being Ron Jeremy.
I found her performance in That Freshly Fucked Feeling really spoke to me.
I especially liked Anal Obsession.
Yeah.
Could have been.
That's something you have.
Yes. And
did anyone see Lesbian Babysitters 5? Because I think it's probably the best of the series.
Yes. But do you think Mothers Teaching Daughters How to Suck Cock 3 or 2 is the best of the series?
I thought 3 was slightly better, I thought.
Okay.
What did you guys think of Masturbation Nation 4, the MILF edition? Did you enjoy it? I mean, I suppose it depends on your attitude to MILFs in general, but
it's just,
I quite liked it.
All these are great titles, but I just don't think they compare to American Bukkake 7 or All Pissed Off 5. Or, and this is probably the best title ever, Cap'n Mongo's Porno Playhouse.
Terry Weigel.
I think we can all agree that she probably hasn't swept cheerleader camp under the carpet from her CV. It's probably top of her CV.
Yes. Although Miss Wiggle has not made any films since 2011. But I think, like most of the people in this, have just turned 50. I think Lucinda Dickey's like 52 now, isn't she? So, I mean, I think there's. I think that she obviously went on to do that whole MILF thing, didn't she? I think like Marilyn Chambers was making porn quite in the 50s and stuff. So, but she was obviously happy doing it, presumably. I don't know.
Well, if it makes you happy, more power to you, I guess.
Yes.
You know, the Kim McCamey from Lunch Meat and Evil Laugh went on to do porn too.
Yeah, so there has been a precedent there. And as Erik said, there's been a gay porn precedent, isn't there, with, what's his name from Fright Night?
Is it Stephen Jeffries? Is his name?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
not that I'd know off the top of my head, right?
No, of course not.
I've actually seen one of his porn movies.
Nathan has watched a porn?
I was curious. I had to see.
I've seen a still from one of his porn movies. It was in.
That's all I've seen as well. Yeah, it was in Empire.
Yeah,
he's not like a bad looking guy, but the porn that I saw him with, like they had him coupled up with somebody that's not very attractive. I was like, poor Evil Ed.
He's actually getting back into mainstream acting now, I believe.
I wonder if Miss Wiggle will get back to mainstream.
Yes, she needs to be in the elusive Cheerleader Camp 2, which we all found out is not really existing.
Yeah.
I think there's probably more chance for being in Lesbian Babysitters 6 than Cheerleader Camp 2, to be honest.
Well, maybe if Cheerleader Camp 2 was just all porn.
Now, technically, they started making Cheerleader Camp 2, but it was actually Millennium Countdown, and it just turned into a completely different film.
Yeah, I saw that.
Was that Camp Fear, or was that a different film?
It's Camp Fear, a.k.a. Millennium Countdown.
Okay. Well, we can talk about. I mean, Nathan, do you want to give us some background?
Yes, I do. The producer of the film also played the sheriff, and Mrs. Tipton was originally supposed to be a very overweight, matronly type woman, and the producer who played the sheriff wanted a more attractive woman, since he was going to have to do the comedic sex scene with her. So they changed her character.
She reminds me of a John Waters hanger-oner. Definitely.
Totally.
I think, yeah.
She does. I mean, I love when she's giving her little speeches and she does that big fake smile at the end of it. Think lovely thoughts.
Yes.
The character of Timmy was originally supposed to be a tiny gymnastics type character. But Buck Flower suggested Travis McKenna, and the character was rewritten for him. So I think it'd been interesting to see that character as like a little tiny gymnast.
Yes, it might have made the bottom through the window a bit more difficult.
Yeah, that might not have happened, actually. The cheerleader rap that we all know and love was actually written by Lucinda Dickey.
What was it?
Oh, I do love it now then. I didn't like it, but now I do like it if she wrote it.
Okay, she wrote it. Which, I mean, the rap's kind of corny, but thinking back to the times, I mean, rap wasn't, like, very big at the time, so maybe it's not that bad for the time frame it's in.
Yeah.
Who knows? Leif Garrett wore the chicken costume when they were doing the dance contest.
Oh.
He was the dancing chicken. Buck Flower ad-libbed most, if not all, of his lines. Because they said that Buck Flower, it's very difficult for him to follow a script. So he just like says whatever he feels like in any scene.
Well, he was criminally insane, wasn't he? So I can understand that.
Yeah, criminally insane.
And he was in The Fog, linking it back to something we mentioned earlier. The end.
Buck Flower's been in a lot of movies.
He's yeah.
Of course, his most famous for Nathan is "My God."
What's that?
Crazy, criminally insane.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah.
At the end. The director does a cameo. He's one of the paramedics at the end of the movie. And the last thing that I have is there's a couple of scenes where Timmy is wearing a Japanese pattern on his sleeve. And it turns out that that Japanese pattern is sort of a badge of honor for like Japanese soldiers, and they had the costumer had put it upside down, and some of the investors of the movie were Japanese. So when they saw that, they were highly offended. So the director and producer had to apologize profusely for that.
Ooh.
And that's all I got.
That's some good background. Thank you, Nathan.
I have a little bit. Well, basically just what I'd said about the Millennium Countdown and Camp Fear, but also we were speaking about Terry Weigel went on to do porn. The character, this may have been mentioned, I may have not overheard, I didn't hear it, but the Krista Flancer who plays Susie, she did porn as well before Cheerleader Camp, but she did a series called The Electric Blue. She was in 31, 45, 42, blah, 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 blah. And
all
she
the good
was...
ones.
Yeah, that's the only porn films that, according to the Internet Movie Database, that she was in. It's just all Electric Blue, and they're all adult films. And then she went on to be the Penthouse Pet of the Month for July of 1986, and that's why she was cast in Cheerleader Camp.
Because I don't think the Electric Blue ones were hardcore, were they? Or maybe they were. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen them, but when looking at some of the titles, I recognize a few of the names, and they like Candy Evans and Steve Drake and Krista Lane, and they're all adult film stars. So I'm assuming. Okay. I think these are softcore. Because I'm looking at Electric Blue 36, and this kind of sounds more. A vampire and his son are on the prowl at a local strip club. Learning the ropes as a vampire becomes difficult when the son falls for a pretty dancer. So it sounds more plot-oriented, more as sex-oriented. So who knows?
Yeah,
you'll just have to rent it to find out.
Yeah,
Joseph.
I'll have to baby Jesus all of them.
Well, she wasn't. Krista wasn't the only Penthouse playmate in the movie. Of course, Rebecca Ferrante. And if you look on her IMDb page, she looks uncannily like Stefania Stella from Fatal Frames now. That's not a compliment. She was a Penthouse Playmate of the Month in June 86, and Terry Weigel, or Terry Wiggle, as we've been calling her, was a Playboy Playmate of the Month in April 86 as well. The band, as far as I can tell, were called Sounds of Success. But Justin, you said the commentary says different. The film was a co-production between Japan and the USA. One of the band members from the goth band, I don't know which one it is called Chris Prettyman, believe it or not. And he's the son of Jeff Prettyman, who plays Sheriff Poucher in the film.
He was a drummer.
Sorry?
He was a drummer.
He's a drummer, is he? Okay.
In the commentary, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. The filming locations were Bakersfield, California, and Sequoia Forest, National Forest in California as well. Lucinda Dickey was the choreographer for the film. As well as writing the rap, she organised all the dance. Travis McKenna, who is the, obese guy, for want of a better word, in the film, is also credited as being the guy who did the stunts which I find hard to believe. Now, speaking of connections, can anyone connect Cheerleader Camp to Hell Night for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, go on, Justin. Go on. Or Nathan, do you want to go?
Well, I'll let Justin go.
It's Vincent Van Patten.
It is Vincent Van Patten, who was married to Betsy Russell.
Yes, and they did Camp Fear together, didn't they?
And as we had mentioned earlier,
did they?
As we had mentioned earlier, when we did our top three, Betsy Russell appeared in Saw 3 through 7, or is it 4 through 7?
4 through 7, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 through 7. Yeah, she was Jigsaw's wife.
Yeah, and in real life, she was the wife to Vincent Van Patten from Hell Night until 2005 when they divorced. Did you guys know that Adam Green, who made Hatchet, he made a movie for MTV in 2007. It was supposed to be the pilot for a proposed TV series called Cheerleader Camp. Nothing at all to do with the movie we're discussing today, but it was produced as a pilot, but was never aired. Apparently, MTV weren't happy with the film, and they just binned it even before they could finish completing it. So
maybe it had too much music in it.
Do you know what it was about?
Satire there on MTV.
Yeah,
that I would agree with. Yes.
Yeah. But do you know what it was about? The Adam Green version.
Well, I think it's just about people at cheer. All I can gather from the internet is it's about people at Cheerleader Camp being offed one by one by a sort of killer. So it is kind of similar, but it's not in any way connected to the film that we're discussing today.
I would have liked to have seen that, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Adam Green says that he was asked to direct it. He said he didn't like the script. He completely rewrote it. And then 2 weeks before they were start filming, MTV put their foot down and said, "You're to direct the version that was the original script." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't like that." So he directed it. They didn't like it. It was binned. So I don't think it's ever been seen. Although it has got 35 reviews on IMDb. So some people have obviously seen it. The other thing I was going to say now, I noticed you earlier, Joseph, you were pronouncing Leif Garrett as Life Garrett.
No, it's Leif.
Leif, is it? Because Linda Carter.
Yeah, that's actually how he pronounces his name, Leif.
Leif. Okay, well, Linda Carter on a DVD commentary for Wonder Woman, which I was mentioning earlier, he's in an episode of that, playing twins. It's pronounced as Lee, pronounce it again, I can't remember. Leif?
Well, yeah, on when he did his VH1 Behind the Music, the true story thing, they asked him how he pronounced his name, and he says it's Leif, like L-A-F-E, but it's spelled like.
All right, yeah. And I suppose the sort of dark side to his backstory that you were alluding to was the 1979 accident where he was driving a car and it crashed, and the passenger, who was his best friend at the time, was a quadriplegic afterwards, paralyzed from the neck down.
From the waist down, I believe.
From the waist down, was it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think he's just a paraplegic, I think.
Okay, yeah. So that that's the tragic backstory to Leif Garrett, as he wants to be pronounced. But they were reunited on a VH1 show apparently, and so all is good now. But it was kind of a dark story, I suppose, to his past.
Yes.
I think that's all I have on that. Yes, that's all I have. Do you have any more behind the scenes, Justin?
Yeah. Have you finished, Joseph?
Oh no, I really don't have anything else. Just the Krista thing and the whole Camp Fear. That's all I had.
Okay. Well, I've got a few bits. You covered most of it, but obviously the film was shot as bloody pom-poms originally, and advertised in Variety as that. It seems, although it's a bit difficult, it looks like Alfred Soul, who directed Alice Sweet Alice, was originally tipped to direct the film. As there's a kind of announcement in Variety in February 1987. Obviously Leif Garrett was.
You kind of messed up there.
Yeah. Erik, you're right. It's Paranormal Activity. You still there, Erik?
It's the white.
I am still here.
The white dots are at his door.
Have you been pulled off?
I wish. By you.
Leif Garrett was also, he was 26 when he made this, but he's also, of course, he was in the proto-slasher Devil Times 5.
Yes, he was.
Forgot about
wasn't he?
that.
Yeah, and Bonnie Laurie Griffin, I thought was really good in this, and she's really funny, but she didn't really go on to do very much. It's a shame. Lucinda Dickey, I read somewhere it said that she wished she'd never done this film, but in fact, I then also stumbled across an interview with her from I think 2006, where she actually said she really enjoyed making the film. She would. Had a 9-month-old baby when she made it, and she went up with her husband to film the film. What else we've got? The Camp Fear. Buck Flower was also in Camp Fear with Betsy Russell and Vincent Van Patten. I mean, there's been lots of kind of. It's one of those kind of the gory graduation and what was the other film that was always
Summer House Slaughter.
That's the one, yeah. Cheerleader Camp 2 and even Cheerleader Camp 3 bandied about. But in fact, like you say, there was no films made, although there was talk about doing a sequel at some point. Rebecca Ferrati, or in real life, she basically had quite a colourful life. She married an Arab sheikh and then divorced him and then lost everything and had to flee from wherever she was staying.
Was he chocolate or vanilla?
I don't know. The director, John Quinn, died in 2011. After this, he mostly did softcore porn or kind of softcore movies, which kind of, you can obviously see the way that it was going with this film. Vicky Benson, who played Miss Tipton, she brought her dog to the set so often that they decided to incorporate the dog into the actual film. The film was the first scene in the movie with Betsy Russell, where she has a nightmare sequence, was shot at Bakersfield High School. It was actually the last one to be shot, so it was shot after the film being completed, but it was the first scene that was shown. And many of the extras were from Bakersfield High School. And the last thing I've got is it was filmed in just 24 days. So there you go. Oh, and the other thing is although there are cinema posters for it, apparently never got a cinema release. Because it says correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but I think it says at the end of the commentary that the people who bought the cinema rights to the film went bankrupt before they could release it. And so the film didn't get a release until on videos, and never actually got released to American screens. And the director said it was a real shame because he said it would have worked really, really well on a B-movie drive-in circuit. So that's everything I've got on Cheerleader Camp, I think.
I've actually got one more bit of information. Okay. Lucinda Dickey, her future husband has a bit part in the film. He plays the detective. Okay. I don't know where the detective appears. It might be at the end, where in the ambulance scene. But that his name is Chris Pelagian, I think it's pronounced, and that they married in 1990. So I'm wondering if love blossomed on the set of Cheerleader Camp.
Well, it says in the interview that she was with maybe his second husband, perhaps, but it said that she had a 9-month-old baby when she made the film. So, and it
says on IMDb they married in 1990. Sorry, so maybe they had a child out of wedlock, which is absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah. Well, it actually says, I'll just read you a little bit of this interview. It says, where is it? It says, everyone told me it's going to be a terrible film, no money, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? We had a ball. My husband went up with me and helped me take care of Joseph, not this Joseph, but our Joseph, but her 9-month-old son. And it was only 4 weeks up in Northern California. But it was just hard. After having a baby, I really didn't want to leave him. So basically talking about her career kind of fizzled out. I mean, I tried out for lots of soap operas and television, but so her career kind of fizzled out before going on to being a judge on a dance show, not through lack of wanting to work, but not being able to get film roles. So it kind of explains.
You know what? now that you said that, I think I like Cheerleader Camp even more because I love when a movie, even if you don't really like the movie, but there's effort. I love when the cast come back and say, you know what, maybe it's not a great movie, but we all had so much fun. That it just kind of elevates it for me for some reason. So now I like it even more.
Well, that's what, because I found on the IMDb comments about this that someone said that she'd wish she'd never made it, and I thought, oh, that's a shame. And it's kind of, isn't it a shame that people make these movies in their 20s or whatever and then disown them? But actually finding that interview, it sounds like she actually, did actually like the film. And Betsy Russell has talked about the film as well in a couple of interviews I've seen, not particularly lengthy interviews from a while back, and she seemed to have, I think she kind of liked the movie. I think it says in the commentary that she was didn't want to be seen as the B movie girl whose top pops off in every film, and was quite relieved that she didn't have to go naked or go topless in this film, because obviously it would have been quite easy, wouldn't it? Because didn't Lucinda Dickey went topless, didn't she, in Ninja 3?
No, she did not.
I don't think so.
No, she did not. She had a lot of sex scene, like sexual innuendo, but she was not nude in that movie.
No.
Okay. Did a top fly off in Breaking Bad?
No.
Or Boogaloo, whatever it was?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad Boogaloo.
No, her top did not fly off in either of the Breaking films. They're both PG.
Okay.
Her headband might have topped off somewhere.
Yeah.
So, right. Well, that's Cheerleader Camp. Nathan, do you want to sum up?
To sum up Cheerleader Camp, a group of cheerleaders got murdered.
Okay, thank you. So,
well, not just cheerleaders. Timmy wasn't a cheerleader.
True.
He was a cheerleader, wasn't he?
I thought Timmy was a cheerleader. He would have been at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yes.
You'd hope. If it's the top of the pyramid,
hope,
fear for everyone underneath.
Yeah. So, well, hope you enjoyed that. Do we have any feedback, Joseph?
We do.
Yes.
We do. Okay. Well, let me play the contact details first, and then we'll come back with. So, if you enjoyed the show or didn't enjoy the show, got anything to tell us about Cheerleader Camp or Terry Wiggles' career? If you've seen American Bukkake 7 or that Freshly Fucked feeling, then let us know.
Or Captain Mongo's Porno Playhouse.
Exactly. So this is how you can do it.
Be sure to search and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at THC_podcast. Our voicemail is 858-233-9281. And you can email us directly at the.hysteria.continues@gmail.com.
Okay, I got a short one here. I guess I'll go to start. It's from yeah. This is...
Matron, take them away!
You know which one I missed, Justin? I think you've only played it once. Is what's he say? Boy, I wouldn't put that in my mouth. It might explode.
Oh, I don't know which one that was.
It was from a matron. You found it a while ago, but you only played it once, and I loved it. But anyway,
yes, carry on.
This is from Soren. He writes in and says, "Hi guys, thank you for the recent string of excellent episodes, and especially for covering one of my personal favorites, Sleepaway Camp. I just finished listening to your podcast on rituals, another excellent show, by the way, and felt I had to remedy the lack of feedback by making a small suggestion for a new top 3. And in parentheses, he says, at least I think it's new. You've done so many shows, I might have missed it, so apologies if that's the case. Anyway, what about a top 3 worst slasher movie taglines? And I don't think we've done that. So that's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I thought of this after watching the 2008 Australian horror film Black Water, which I quite liked, except that looking it up online led me to its tagline, the staggeringly inane, "What you can't see can hurt you." Now, I'm sure there must be a good deal of similarly inane taglines for our favorite genre films, or maybe not. What do you think are some of the worst slasher taglines? And if you could jump into the DeLorean and travel back in time to pay a visit to those responsible, what alternatives would you suggest? As always, love the podcast. Please keep putting it out there. All the best, Soren.
That's a good suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good top 3 idea.
Yes. Well, we'll be talking what's going to be our next show, which is going to be so epic, we won't have time for a top 3. But we will return to it fairly shortly. So Erik, you're going to tell us about that at the end of the show, aren't you?
I am indeed.
Yes, okay. Right. Well, thank you, Thorin.
Okay, well, I have some feedback as well. He says, this is from Eduardo Victoria from California. He says, "Dear guys at Hysteria, I have been listening to your podcast since the end of 2012 and have become quite addicted. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot of the movies that you guys have covered as the main features discussed on podcasts. Discussed on podcasts, but really love listening to your top threes, what you've all been watching, and feedback segments. I consider myself somewhat of a novice DVD Blu-ray collector, as I've really only become obsessed with home video and collecting both formats and watching as many movies as I can within a little over the last year or so. So I only have about 250 DVDs and 50 Blu-rays in my collection, which to me sounds like quite a lot, to be honest. I've been watching horror films my entire life. My earliest memory is watching John Carpenter's Halloween at the age of 5 or 6. As a matter of fact, in the first grade, my classmates and I were being least discreetly to us, interrogated by our teacher to see if we knew things like our home phone number, home address, and things like that. But these questions were nestled in between things like, what's your favorite color and what's your favorite movie, only to be met with a look of confusion when I told my teacher that my favorite film was John Carpenter's Halloween. It wasn't until only recently that I've really been digging into the horror and slasher genres, so I actually have a suggestion that could end up being a number of top threes or a matter of discussion on a future podcast if you guys so decide. The question is, what are the must-watch slasher movies every fan of the genre needs to see? It's about time that I get the foundations down before I move any further. Best wishes from sunny Southern California, Eduardo Victoria. Well, thank you, Eduardo. So what are the must-see slasher movies of the genre everyone needs to see? I suppose Halloween, obviously, which
Halloween,
you've seen.
My Bloody Valentine, Black Christmas, Friday the 13th, obviously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've pretty much covered. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho. Any others you can mention, Justin?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah. Scream, that'd be one.
Yeah.
The Prowler.
Prowler
would be a good one.
Just Before Dawn.
Hell Night,
yeah.
Criminally Insane.
Yes. Slumber Party Massacre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's so many, isn't there?
Terror at 10 Killer.
Dirty Dancing.
No, don't watch that, Eduardo.
Axum.
No, don't watch that either.
No. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's I mean, there's so many out there, isn't there? You can't go too badly wrong with Friday 13th or Halloween 1 and 2. You know, early Friday 13th movies like My Bloody Valentine, Terror Train, anything with Jamie Lee Curtis in it. Until she kind of starts doing dance movies.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect is semi-descriptive. It is perfect.
Yes.
He saw Halloween at the age of 5 or 6. Now I think I was about 14 when I got into slasher movies. So I'm probably a late bloomer by his standards anyway.
Well, you're like 70 now, aren't you?
Oi, I'm younger than Justin.
Yeah, okay.
Barely.
Let me say bear.
Yes, I did say bear. But, okay. Well, thank you, Eduardo. And what I would say is just kind of, listen to the podcast and watch the movies, or go back and watch the movies, then re-listen to the podcast and see if you agree.
I'll go to Hysteria Continues, because we have the comprehensive reviews of all the stuff from the early 80s, which is what we mainly focus on, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you can see what kind of ratings they get and make your decisions.
Although, as we know, sometimes they're quite contentious.
Yeah, pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I've changed my mind on quite a few movies. But yeah, excellent. Well, thank you, Eduardo. Has you got any more feedback?
No.
Nathan.
Oh, sorry. Here, Mr. Cursed Tits.
Are you talking to me?
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. No, I find. Sorry.
Did you just break
Nathan.
wind?
That was not me.
Nathan, I'm really sorry, but I have to take issue with Eric. Eric's like, I don't like fart humor in movies, and he's back there making fart noises.
Yes.
Well, because he said Mr. Cursed Tits. I was trying to keep it in context with the film.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you
Tell
making...
it to HR. Tell it to HR.
That was you making a farting noise, was it?
It was.
What, when poor Nathan, the only person who stood up for you this episode, was about to give his feedback?
Well, he called you Miss Kirstitz. I just wanted to keep it in tone with the movie.
Okay, Nathan, let's
I do have feedback. And thank you very much, Joseph, for picking the short one for yourself and the long one for me.
What are you talking about?
The feedbacks. You read like 3 sentences, and this one's really long.
I randomly select them and just issue them out. I don't really read them when I have more than one.
But the good thing is, this is from our loyal listener, Tosca. Who we all like.
Hey, Tosca Top Socks.
How dare you demean Tosca this way?
Demean him.
Yeah, you said his email's too long. Tosca's emails are never too long.
I didn't say it was too long. I said that you chose the shorter one for yourself. That's all I said. Okay, he says, read this on Sunday. Hope all is going well in your respective world. Wait a minute. Never mind. Forget I just said that. Okay. He says, hope all is going well in your respective worlds.
You just read Joseph's instructions, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
The top 3 ditses. I think we found our new top 1, haven't we?
I see nothing.
What?
This show needs to end. Let's go.
Okay.
For 9 hours.
He says, I hope all is going well in your respective worlds. And especially big hello to Erik, as I am hoping he is over his recent surgery. Are you, Erik?
Thank you. I am over my recent surgery. Thank you.
Yes. Have you chosen a new name, Erik?
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, Susan.
Erica.
Eric's going to be Luna Chick.
Inga. Now you're really...
Inga, yes. You finally can be at one with Inga.
Yeah, well, that was always my dream.
Sorry, Nathan. Carry on.
He said, I thought I would share a couple of my recently seen with you. The first is one that I think you have all seen, and that movie is the remake of Maniac. This is so far my favorite horror film of the year, and I thought Elijah Wood was haunting and chilling in his role. I would urge all of your listeners to check this out. While it is relatively grueling, it is also scary and thrilling. It will also make you think twice before talking to strangers or upsetting the wrong person. Kudos as well to the cinematographer who gave the movie a grimy but neon-lit 80s vibe. The other fantastic discovery I made was American Horror Story, the first season, starring Jessica Lange. This was a miniseries of which there have now been 2 seasons, I believe, although I've yet to see season 2, but I know the second story is completely different, but with some of the same cast, if that makes sense. Season 1 runs the gamut of ghosts, slashers, scary kids, and too many other genre tropes to mention, but it is one of the most inventive and spooky and sexy TV shows I have seen. If you have yet to see the show, I would thoroughly recommend it to the podcast and your fans. Anyway, you guys, be good, and I will be in touch again soon. I'm just off to see The Conjuring and have my fingers crossed that it lives up to my expectations. And it's signed Tosca. And he says, P.S., love the 3 Bitches episode. Singing Bitch Flushing Toilet got me a few funny looks at work. There you have it.
I'm going to agree and disagree with him. Yes, Maniac is the best horror film I've seen this year so far. That's my agreement. My disagreement is that I think the first season of American Horror Story is pretty good, but the second season was just crap.
But he says he hasn't seen the second season yet.
So okay. Well, then there's no disagreement. Yeah.
Yeah, you agree with Tosca on everything. In that case.
Thumbs up, Tosca. We love you.
I disagree with you, though. I don't think second season was crap. I just thought it was lesser than the first season.
I've not seen Maniac yet. I'm the odd one out.
Oh, it's really good.
It's my favorite movie this year, easily. It's so good. I loved it.
I will get around to watching it.
I think I mentioned I watched it in my hospital bed when I was feeling very tender. So every slice and hack felt particularly harsh to me, but I did enjoy it, I have to say.
Yeah, and I've said it before that the score is just so amazing.
It is. It's really good. Yeah.
So I would watch it tonight, but I've got to watch Kramer versus Kramer.
There's my son, and you're not getting him back.
I know.
I like Kramer versus Kramer.
Well, I've never seen it. It's not my choice, but it's come through Love Films, so it's turned up. So we've got to watch that tonight. I've got Bonnie and Clyde as well.
Has anyone ever seen the photo meme, or whatever it's called, of Kramer versus Predator? No. That went around. Yeah, it was basically Dustin Hoffman sitting opposite Predator.
Family Guy where he's Kramer versus Predator, and he says, "He's my son, and you're not getting back." And so the Predator.
Oh,
just
that must be where I saw it. Actually,
Yeah, is it cartoon? Yeah, he shoots him in the face with his laser cannon.
Yeah, enjoy that, Justin.
Oh, thank you. But Nathan, that wasn't a long one.
Yeah.
Well, just compared to Joseph's, which he read 3 sentences.
I read mine really quickly. I think that's where you...
Are you saying I'm a slow reader? Is that what you're saying?
You're a slow learner, so you might as well be a slow reader.
Well, your petty insults have no effect on me. I'm
I am the winner. Oh, yeah.
See, Nathan, it wouldn't have been quite so long if you hadn't read out the instructions at the beginning.
This is true. If I didn't read them out loud, how would I ever know?
Exactly. But
in the end, it's from Tosca Top Sock, so it's all worth it.
Yes. Thank you, Tosca. So have we got any others?
No.
Tumbleweed.
When's the last time we checked iTunes to see if anybody left us feedback on that?
I did not too long ago. The thing is, there might be new feedback, but the U.S. site never really updates, so I'm not sure.
Because with the UK, we can only see the UK one in the UK and maybe in Ireland. I don't know. Do you get an Irish iTunes, Erik? Or
I think it's the same as the UK one.
Right. Okay. Because
I can see the UK, but I have to change the URL at the top before I can see it. It automatically goes to the US version.
Okay. Yes, but no. Please do leave us feedback on iTunes, because apparently, if you do, I don't know how it works, but we get higher up rankings and stuff, don't we? Or
that means
like that?
The higher up ranking, the more people will see us. So yeah, do leave your feedback there as well. But keep sending it to the email as well. We like that.
Yes, please do, and also phone in as well.
Yeah, we haven't had a good voicemail in a while.
We haven't had a voicemail in a while.
Yeah.
They should listen to Joseph's instructions. If you would like to leave a voicemail.
Here we go. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Yes. Well, this has already turned into quite an epic show. So maybe through the power of editing, it might be quite coherent, but I'm not entirely sure.
But we had fun. Come on.
We had fun. We had a lot of fun. So I hope you had fun listening.
I'm never going to forget this weekend for as long as I live. It's April Fool's Day for you.
Yes. Okay. Well, next time we have a bit of a treat, don't we, Erik?
Okay. Well, this time definitely we're going to be doing Friday the 13th, Part 3. We were a bit premature the last time.
Yes.
We have an interview with Larry Zerner, who plays Shelley, and we'll be joined, our special guest will be Michael from Cinema du Meep.
Yes. So
Michael Ferrari. He's got an awesome
Michael Ferrari. He does.
Yes.
He sounds like a sexy car.
He is a sexy car. He is a beast of a man. He's a sexy beast of a man.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, we know what kind of dynamic we're going to have on the show next week. So, Meep, if you're listening, come prepared.
He has been posting on Facebook, and the body count continues that he's watched Friday the 13th. And I said, prepping? And he said, enjoying. So he is ready. He is ready.
Yeah.
And he's going to give us, we're not going to have a top 3 next time, but Meep will be giving us his top 3 Friday 13th moments for our pleasure and your pleasure.
Yeah, he wants a cat, so we're going to give it to him.
He needs the cat. Yeah.
But we already know this. We're around about 2.5 hours now, and if we had a top 3 and stuff, and it's going to be even more epic than it will be. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, and Dana Kimmel will be joining us live.
Are you sure about that?
Possibly.
Tumbleweed,
yes. She might do. You never know. I haven't heard back from her yet, but there's a possibility.
Oh, did you actually write her?
No. But there's a possibility, but a very small possibility, admittedly. So apart from that, anything else we want to say?
I don't know. Just keep writing in and go check out our Facebook page.
Yes.
Give me a H. Give me a Y. Give me an S, etc., etc.
Oh, and be sure to like The Night Before Easter. We really want to make this movie so bad.
So please.
One more thing. Sorry, Justin.
Yeah.
Earlier, I was going to mention when you were talking about the Cheerleader Camp 2 and people were mistaking it as Summer House Slaughter and Gory Graduation. If the night before Easter is at all successful, Nathan and I have decided we're actually going to make Gory Graduation.
Excellent.
We're going to bring that movie. We're actually going to get that movie made, so we're going to
bring it to the screen.
And after that, Summer House Slaughter.
Yeah, we're going to do both of those movies, so we really need the night before Easter to be successful. So please help us out if you can.
Are you going to base it on my book?
Actually, we would like to talk to you about that off air. So.
Okay. Right.
Ooh.
Oh, deals to
I
be
see
done.
dollar signs in Justin's eyes.
Maybe
they're black.
Maybe cents.
They're black.
Cent signs in my eyes.
Cent signs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. We are going to be playing out what with?
This is the rap song, the epic rap song.
Ah, okay. Right.
So go ahead and play it because it's only like 40 seconds long, and we can just kind of make fun of it.
Okay. Well, here we go.
She's so fine.
Look at her long, or you'll go blind. Next is Pam. She comes out with a fam, and will tell you this. She ain't no sham. Next is Ronnie. She acts kind of funny. Steal your heart, but not your money. She's got what it takes. Putting her on this team was no mistake. Last is Glory. This is her story. She's our gator. You'll be seeing her later. And we're Brett and Timmy. We're part of the bunch. Gonna take the crown, and that ain't no hunch. Now get ready to hear our cheer, cause we're the best team you see this year. Look.
No. Give me an O. She knows better. Give me an R. Why did I ever trust Corey? Run! Give me a Y. She killed them all.
Sure.
Who do we love? Corey! Who do you love? Corey!
Patented the door effect.
You know, Eric's voice sounded far off when Justin even mentioned it, so I'm like, who's already heading that way?
Eric's
I'm always getting
fingered. Sorry, excuse me, I've just got a mouthful of nuts. So.
Gee, I bet that won't go on the end of the show.
Yep. What is Erik? You doing something?
What are you doing?
No.
You are.
Nothing.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right. Okay.
Erik, you can't lie. I can see when it's you. The little thing blinks when you're making noise.
Oh, of course, yeah. There's no privacy left in internet land at all.
There's not.
So Eric's little thing blinks.
his little white dots. When you got disconnected, it has these 3 little dots on your picture that are like near your stomach that looks like cum shots. And I said, if Erik were here, he'd have a field day because we were making fun of you. That's basically, you know, like a runway, like an airplane saying, "Come here, bear, come here."
Yeah.
It just looks. If you've not seen it, it's little dots coming up from your undercarriage up into your mouth. So anyway,
well, I look forward to seeing it at some stage.
Do you know Weird Al's link to Cheerleader Camp?
He has the same hairstyle as Pam. I was just going down to Spa, and then like spaceship come down from sky and like take me off to a planet.